गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पतः शृण्वन्नोतिभिश्रीरसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं दर्शनीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवि चक्षुषा ततम् ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं क्लीं हसौ जगत्प्रसूत्यै नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते सत्यदेवाय नमः। Everybody repeat after me. Hare Rama Krishna 3 times. Om Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Rama Krishna.
I had a doubt in this here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw your mail just before I came. Okay, before we do any astrology today, Seshu Garu has a small question, not about astrology, but about the computation of Lagna. He did a little experiment. He saw how long the ascendant was remaining in each sign. He just did an experiment. He saw that, I don't know for what date and what place he did it. Just today, he said. Scorpio Lagna remains for 2 hours 26 minutes. Sagittarius for 2 hours, Capricorn for 1 hour 29 minutes, Aquarius for 1 hour 10 minutes. So I think actually I may have the mail. So his question was, why is it not even? Why is it not 2 hours? 2 hours for every sign.
Or around 2 hours.
Yeah, around 2 hours for every sign. Why is it varying so drastically?
Because the rising of each sign is uneven.
Right, but why? That is his question.
Because above the horizon, it's going to take different times to rise.
Right, right. See, these are the numbers. The mail you can see, he sent a mail. You must also have got a copy of it on a JC Boston Yahoo group. So, the point he was making is, see, we are very far away from the equator. If you are exactly on the equator, then you can expect the uniformity. If you are far away from the equator, what happens is, I'm sorry to those who are listening to the audio, I don't have any picture, but I will show it to people here. Suppose this is Earth, and the North Pole and South Pole, they are slightly tilted. So when you, in the summer, basically, the North Pole is, in the summer, it is basically tilted towards Sun, and the South Pole is further away from Sun. So in the Southern Hemisphere, they have winter, and in the Northern Hemisphere, we have summer. But actually leave summer and winter aside. The simple fact is, Earth is rotating like this.
Okay.
This is the equator. There is a slight angle. So if this is the equator, because Earth is rotating like this, do you have any sphere kind of thing? Anybody has a ball, or it will be easier to have something to see.
There's one in my account.
This will do. This is perfect. So let us say this line in the middle, that is equator. Okay. If it is like this, suppose Earth is like this and this is Sun, and suppose Earth is rotating around itself like this, then if you take this line is basically rotating with an equal velocity. But the thing
is around the equator. If you take the
actually not even equator, the line connecting North Pole and South Pole. That line
is at the tilt. But I'm saying the zodiac, which is all the rasis.
Right.
It's the belt around.
No, it's also around this.
It's around the Earth. It's not around the zodiac. It's around the Earth.
It's around the same.
Plane you got to take, right? Because
right. It's around the same line, the line drawn from the North Pole.
Really?
Right.
It's actually the tilted angle.
Right. But the thing is, the idea here is, if you are rotating like this, see, if Earth is rotating like this, then the signs that are here, the speed with which you will cover the signs in these portions will be lower, and in these portions will be higher. Okay. And when it is like this, basically, then here it is faster, here it is even. And you can see that when Earth is tilted like this, this portion is basically facing sun. So during the daytime, the all the lagnas are basically moving fast, and in the night time they are moving slowly. So you have a shorter daytime and a longer night time in the winter, and in the summer it's the opposite. So it depends on whether Earth is like this or like this. But it's basically because of the tilt that you have a variation, and you can see that if you take the length of the day and the length of the, because during the day we know that lagna moves from around the sun's longitude to 180 degrees from sun's longitude, from sunrise to sunset. So we know that it approximately covers 180 degrees during the daytime, and lagna covers the remaining 180 degrees during the night time. And we know that in the winter, the days are shorter, and it can go as bad as in Boston. It can go as bad as 8 hours and 16 hours. The day can be 8 hours day, and night can be 16 hours night. And in the summer, it can be 8 hour night and 16 hour day. We have a much longer day. It starts at sunrise is at 4 o'clock, and it starts at 8:40. Yeah. So because of that, and that is again because of this, because Earth is not like this. Earth is like this, and it's rotating around this axis. So that is basically the reason. Try to think about it. Try to draw a picture and think about it more. But it's because of the tilt in the axis.
So I'm going to dig in a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Let's say, first of all, the zodiac, which is all the 12 houses, 360 degrees of the Rasi.
Yeah.
Now, it's supposed to be a belt.
Which is the plane? That is your question. That is the plane containing the center of Earth and the center of Sun.
Also, if you draw an axis from the center of the Earth to the center of the Sun, that's the line which is zodiac. So if the Earth is tilted this way, that means the zodiac is also tilted.
Right.
With respect to the central axis of the Earth.
No, zodiac is Zodiac is not tilted.
Only the plane is, the Sun is sitting here.
Yeah. See, this is Earth. This is Earth in our example.
Right.
And this is Sun is here.
Right.
And Earth is going around Sun.
Correct.
And also going around itself like
Correct.
this. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you take the axis of the Earth, which is at a slightly different tilt.
Okay. This axis of, do you mean the axis of self-rotation or the
axis of revolution?
Okay.
Right. Rotation. And then you take Sun. Let's assume Sun as a fixed entity.
Yeah.
The center of the Sun, the center of the Earth.
Yeah.
To draw a line.
Yeah.
That line is at an angle from the north and south pole.
Right. It is at an angle. But that angle is not exactly 90 degrees.
It's not 90 degrees.
Normally we would have thought 90 degrees, but because of this tilt,
It is not. It's
slightly off the 90 degrees.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. It's
So
like
that means the plane of the zodiac itself, which is that plane along with the Sun, is at an angle of say 85 degrees or 84 degrees, or whatever that angle.
Right.
So when the Earth is, that's what you're saying, when the Earth is spinning.
Yeah.
Now, why is the zodiac getting covered faster? Because it's an angle?
Yeah.
The tilt of the angle.
Yes.
So the speed of the Earth is not changing, right?
The speed of the Earth is not changing. The speed of the Earth is not changing. Suppose this is how Earth looks.
Right.
So at any point, if you look at the east, if you draw a tangent in the eastern direction, and if you see what point of the
zodiac you're able to see.
Yeah, you are able to see. Right. If you look at that point, basically, that tangent will be moving faster in this area, and it will be moving slower in this area, because the tangent is not parallel to the zodiac itself. Correct. It is at an angle with the zodiac.
This is the plane, you're covering it this way.
Right.
So
let me imagine it like this. Suppose this whole floor of this room is the zodiac, and I am going around. I'm going around like this, and let's say I'm just looking straight, and whatever that particular, we are dividing the zodiac into 12 parts, and say this is this sign, this is this sign. And the thing is, if I'm looking like this, I'm looking at that particular point on the wall. If I project it down on the ground and say this is area 70 degrees, so that is my lagna. And if I go around like this with a uniform speed, if I'm spinning around myself, I will see everything moving at a uniform speed. But let us imagine a case where I'm not moving like this, but I'm tilted and then I'm moving like this.
Correct.
If I'm moving like this, then when I'm facing like this, I will move. I will see the points in the ground move faster. Yeah. When I'm facing up, basically, I will see them move slower.
Because this is the axis you're having, and this is the
axis of the Earth. Yeah. Think about it more, and if you are still confused, we can talk about it. But there is one small issue. The issue is exactly how do we define lagna. That is a very fundamental issue here. There is a standard definition that is accepted by most scholars, the exact definition of the rising sign and rising degree, like rising longitude, the ascendant. But exactly how it is defined, give it some thought and then do some reading. Do some search on the internet and try to find out how exactly ascendant is found. Yeah. Because if you look at the plane that contains Sun, Earth and various planets, is basically a two-dimensional plane. Correct. So if you say this is my 0 degree axis, this is my 30 degree point, this is my 60 degree point, and if you, let's say you have imagined lines, and then all the planets are basically between those. But the thing is, for Moon, for example,
it can be.
It's not the same plane. Right. The plane in which Moon is rotating around Earth is not exactly the same plane. So it is a slightly tilted plane. So how do you define the longitude of Moon?
You have to basically take it as a two-dimensional map and look at it from the top.
Do you take it as a two-dimensional map and then do the projection? What exactly do you do? Try to do some research on it and then extend it to Lagna. Because again, Lagna, when you're talking about when you draw a tangent in the eastern direction, it may not be in the same plane where this two-dimensional plane is, unless you are on the equator. It's on a slightly different plane. So how do you define?
But even on the equator, I would think it would be different. Because it's tilted there. Even at the equator, the Earth it was 90 degrees. At the
not always. On the equator, at some points of time, it will basically, the point of interest will still be on the equator, in the plane containing Sun and Earth. And the thing is, even for other planets, it's not that they're exactly in a two-dimensional plane. It's almost a two-dimensional plane, but there is a slight latitude also. So if you look at the software, when you look at the longitudes of the planet, there is also a latitude difference. So there is a small, it's almost 0 degrees always, but there is a longitude as well as latitude for all the planets when you look at the coordinates. So try to do some digging into the astronomical aspects of how these things are defined, how Lagna and various things are defined. Now we'll go back to astrology. Can everybody see? Can the size okay? Can you increase it? Okay, no problem. Okay. Now let us do a few more examples today, and for the benefit of those who missed the last class and could not listen to the audio, which basically means Sriram.
Thank you.
I will give a very rough summary because he's a smart man. If I say it once, he'll understand it and he will remember it.
And I saw Kiran's also once. I should grasp it pretty quick, I think.
Okay. So the rule is, see, the idea behind this whole thing is, when you say Narayana Dasha of Gemini, there can be a lot of results that are promised in that Dasha. Gemini may be the 10th house, so something may happen in career. The Lord of Gemini may be the Lord of 10th house and 1st house. So something may happen relating to health and career. And the Lord of Gemini may be placed in, let's say, the 6th house. So there may be a lot of arguments, quarrels, etc. And Gemini may be occupied by Rahu. Or let us say, Gemini may be occupied by Mars. And Mars may be the 3rd and 8th Lord. So again, 3rd and 8th house results may be given. And Mars is Dhatukaraka, the significator for brothers. So something relating to brothers and sisters may happen. And Mars is a malefic, so something relating to his malefic nature may happen. And Jupiter may be aspecting it from Sagittarius. So Jupiter's results may be given too. And Jupiter may be the 4th and 7th Lord. So marriage and house, those results may be given. And Jupiter may be occupying certain house. So those results may be given too. So if you look at the house and the Lord, the house is owned and occupied by the Lord. The house is owned and occupied by various aspectors, various planets who aspect. If you list out all these factors, there will be like 10 results that are possible in a particular Mahadasha.
So, I mean, Narayana energizes that Rasi.
Right.
Narayana.
Right.
Even Grahas that are aspecting it will also get energy.
The Grahas aspecting it will basically try to influence what that Dasha gives. Narayana tells the Rasi, okay, your turn. Whatever you want to give, give. And then the sign, the planet which is in that Rasi, that will say, why don't you give my result? The planet aspecting it, it will say, why don't you give my result? The Lord will say, why don't you give my result? And the sign itself wants to give its own result. So as a result of this, there are so many different results that are possible in a given Dasha. And the idea behind the rules that I taught in the last class is to see exactly when which factor would certify. There are so many factors. There is a particular order in which those factors will give their results. So that is the fundamental idea. And the basic rule is called the 3 parts rule. The basic rule is divide the Mahadasha into 3 equal parts. So by the way, this applies to Antardasha as well. If you want to see the results of an Antardasha, again you can divide it into 3 parts and see when what result would be given. But usually by applying this to Mahadasha, you can get pretty consistent results. So there's no reason to go to Antardasha, but technically you can do that. So you divide the Mahadasha or the period of interest into 3 equal parts. And the rule is which part will go to the sign. That is decided by whether the sign, the Narayan Dasha sign. Now we don't look at the 7th from the sign, if the Dasha started from 7. Just look at the Narayan Dasha sign. If the sign is a Prushthodaya Rashi, which rises, if it rises with its back, then it gives its results at the end. If it is Shishodaya, it gives results in the first 1/3. If it is Ubhyodaya, it gives in the middle 1/3. And then the Lord, once the sign takes which 1/3 it wants, Lord will come and take his 1/3. And based on whether the Lord is in Prushthodaya Rashi or Shishodaya Rashi or Ubhyodaya Rashi, he will either take the first available portion or the last available portion out of the 2 remaining. And if it is Ubhyodaya, technically he can take either. But to simplify the rules, we say that it is the first, though it's not exactly 100% correct. So in the case of Ubhyodaya and Shishodaya, it will take the first available 1/3. And in the case of a planet, the Lord being in Prushthodaya, he will take the last available 1/3. And then the remaining 1/3, there is only 1/3 remaining, that will be taken by the planets which are occupying the sign as well as aspecting the sign by Rashi Drishti. So that is the basic rule. And now, among the planets which are occupying or aspecting, list out all the planets and divide that 1/3 into equal portions between those planets. Yeah, amongst all the planets. And the order of the planets will be the order of the longitudes. Take the advancement in terms of longitude from the beginning of the sign they occupy. A planet may be at 26 degrees, a planet may be at 19 degrees. So the one at 26 degrees will give its results earlier. And for Rahu Ketu, you take from the reverse. And when you can't decide the stronger of Rahu and Ketu because they have the same longitude, give preference to Rahu. Unless you have another reason to prefer Ketu, usually Rahu will give his results first. And then Ketu. And then, using this conjunctions and aspects rule as well as the Lord rule, we get certain portions that are given to planets, either the Lord or the planets who occupy an aspect. So now, that portion of a planet can further be subdivided into 4 parts. In the case of benefit planets, the first 1/4, it will give the results of the sign it occupies, the house it occupies. Because the analogy I gave in the past, in the last class is, good people are concerned about where they are. They try to help. They forget everything else. And wherever they are, they try to make sure that things are going well there. So a benefit planet will give the results of the house it occupies in the first 1/4. In the second 1/4, it will give the results of the houses it owns, because that is its primary responsibility. In the third 1/4, it gives the results of the yogas it has. The yogas, all other associations it has. Any Raj Yoga or even Duru Yoga. Any yogas it is involved in with other planets. And then the last quarter, it gives the results of its state, whether it's exalted, in Mulatrikona, in enemy's house, what kind of Uchabala it has. Does it have 100% Uchabala or 0% Uchabala? So based on all those things, based on the state, overall state of the planet, it will give results in the last 1/4. Good state, good results, bad state, bad results. So this is basically the way it works for benefit planets. And for malefic planets, it is reversed. So these are the basic rules. And we saw a few examples in the last class. And we will see some more examples.
Yeah, this rule of the planet sequence of 4 pieces is pretty. Shouldn't that apply to actually any other planet and any other dasha?
It applies to most dasas.
Most dasas, because I would think the behavior would be the same.
Right. It applies to most dasas. For dashas where you have 9 dasas, there are some other rules where you divide into 3 parts instead of 4 parts. And for the dashas where you have 8 antardashas or multiple of 4 antardashas, you have this 4 parts rule. So there are multiple rules.
So if I take Vinsotir dasha,
usually we apply the 3 parts rule. Yeah, instead of 4 parts rule.
And the 3 parts rule in that case.
The houses owned and occupied are together, are in the first 1/3 for benefit planets. And then the yogas and finally the state. So that is how it works for Vimshyotri Dasha. And there we don't divide actually into equal 1/3. We take as first 3 Antardashas, next 3 Antardashas, and next 3 Antardashas. So that is how you do it. You don't, in the case of Narayana Dasha, I said divide into equal portions. But in the case of Vimshyotri Dasha, you don't divide it into equal portions. You divide it into Antardashas, based on the number of Antardashas. But we'll do Vimshyotri Dasha later. So let us focus on Narayana Dasha. Let us see some more examples. Let us take the data is September 12, 1971, 8:25 a.m. Indian Standard Time, and the place is Guntur, India, 80 degrees 23 minutes east, 16 degrees 13 minutes north. Okay, so let us look at Rashi Narayana Dasha. Or let us actually say we'll look at Navamsa Narayana Dasha. And if you want to look at Navamsa Narayana Dasha in your own case or in the case of some chart, all you have to do is open Narayana Dasha in the Rashi Dasha tab, click on options and change. Here it says Narayana Dasha of which DN. Choose Navamsa here. And then make sure that it says normal Narayana Dasha, not Pata Narayana Dasha or Sama Narayana Dasha. Those are variations that we don't bother about right now. For us, they don't exist. So make sure that normal Narayana Dasha is selected. By default it is, unless you messed with it. And the Lord of Aquarius and Lord of Scorpio, if you want to experiment with a different Lord, you can change them. But usually software does a good job. You don't have to change it. And again, you can say where to start the Dashas from. The best would be just to use the default. Basically, you shouldn't have to touch anything here unless you are doing some research and you want to experiment with slightly different rules. So these are given for the benefit of research. You can do detailed research. You can disagree with the software and try something else. So this is given for research. All you have to do is change this BN to Navamsa, say OK, and then you will get Navamsa Narayana Dasha. Now, if I tell you that this lady got married in Libra Narayana Dasha, will you have difficulty accepting it? I tell you that this lady got married between September 11, 1992 and September 12, 1994. During those 2 year period, Libra Mahadasha as per Navamsa Narayana Dasha, will it make any sense to you or will you be surprised? What are the strong candidates for giving marriage? Venus, Ketu. Venus gives marriage for the purpose of love, and Ketu gives marriage for the purpose of tradition and getting children, so that the family, the parampara can progress. Ketu gives marriage for Kulasya Unnati, for the growth of family. And Venus gives marriage for the benefit of enjoyment and love. So Venus, Ketu are important. Upapada Lagna, UL, that is important. Lagna is important, and of course 7th house is important. And Darakaraka, that is also important. So when you see a confluence between various of these factors, you can conclude that there can be marriage in that particular dasha. Again, you have to use some common sense also. If you look at all the factors, let us say the marriage seems likely at the age of 70. If you tell that the person will get married at the age of 70, of course there may be something, it is possible. But if you say that they won't get, but if you say they won't get married until the age of 70, they will be concerned. And usually people do get married at a very young age, like before 40. So if you see the best dasha coming at the age of 70, don't think that then only marriage will happen. If you see a dasha before that, when there is some reasonable chance, you can predict that there will be marriage. In any case, here, who is Dharakarka? Jupiter is Dharakarka. Just keep that in mind. Jupiter is TK, Dharakarka, which means the variable significator of spouse, marriage. Actually, not exactly marriage, but spouse. Or even partner. Dhara doesn't necessarily mean spouse. It is basically partner. So Dharakarka is partner. In the case of Navamsa, it is partner in Dharma. So it is spouse. In the case of Dashamsa, it will be colleagues, people that you work with, people that are even business partners. Those will be shown by Dharakaraka in the case of Dashamsa. So here, Jupiter is Dharakaraka, and Jupiter, is he also Upada Lord?
He's Upada a lot. But like Upada, I thought we only looked at Rasi.
No, even in Navamsa.
In Navamsa.
Yeah. In general, if you want to say something about marriage, it's a good idea to look at Rasi Upada. But when you are trying to time the marriage using Navamsa, the Upada and Navamsa becomes most important. Because we are using Navamsa now. We are trying to time using Navamsa and Narayana. So this is the best factor. So if you look at Upada, it is in a Jupiter sign, and Jupiter is Dharkaraka too, and he is aspecting Lagna. So Jupiter is connecting Upada and Dharkaraka effect with Lagna. So certainly Libra Dasha can give marriage because it is associated with Jupiter. And secondly, the Lord of Venus, the Lord of Libra, Venus, where is he? He is in Upada Lagna. Again, he is connecting Lagna with Upada Lagna and also with Ketu. And of course the planet is Venus. So for all these reasons, if you were blindly guessing the Mahadasha, when the marriage would take place, what would you have guessed? Suppose I didn't tell you 92, 94.
It's a very good chance. It was Libra.
Which two would you have guessed? To say that Libra Dasha will give marriage will be very difficult. Libra is definitely a candidate. Which is the other candidate? Sagittarius. Because it has Lagna Lord, Venus, Ketu, Upada. So, if you were making a prediction without knowing, with a blank mind basically, without any bias, you would have either picked Libra or Sagittarius. So 2012 to 2020 or 92 to 94. But Sagittarius is coming at the age of 41 years old. And she is a traditional Indian, she's from a traditional Indian family where if you are not married by the age of 30, everybody will start, why? Everybody will start worrying. They will become very, very anxious about it. So it's very unlikely that she will not be married until the age of 41. Unless you see some bad yogas in the chart. When you do a static analysis of the chart without looking at the chart, if you see some serious afflictions relating to the 7th house or marriage, and if you suspect that the person may not have a marriage, then you should, for example, if the Upada Lord is not strong, if the second Lord from Upada is not strong, because second Lord brings the marriage. If you remember, if somebody is not getting married, what is the remedy that we talked about earlier? Fast on the weekday of the planet who owns Upada, and then at the end of the day, before breaking the fast, who should they pray to? The deity shown by the second Lord from Upada Lagna. Because second is the food, the resources. So, second house, the second Lord from Upada is who actually brings the marriage and keeps it intact. So, the second Lord from Upada should be strong and Upada itself should be strong. And here, Upada is in Cancer, in the Rashi chart, and Ketu occupies it. Is it good or bad? Is he a benefic or malefic? He is a benefic just for this purpose. Ketu is a malefic for everything, but he is a benefic for just two things. What are those? Marriage, children, and moksha. These are the only things for which Ketu is benefic. Everything else, he thinks, why? He doesn't understand anything else. He can understand those things to some extent. So, Upada is having a benefic in it, and Upada Lord, is he strong or weak? He is exalted in the Labhasthana, in the 11th house from Upada. If the Lord of any Upada is in the 11th from it, he's showing hints of that. The fruits, basically 11th house is the house of fruits, the fructification. So,
but he is with Saturn.
He is with Saturn. He is afflicted, but he is basically strong. And a debilitated moon may have trouble dealing with Saturn, but exalted moon can deal with anybody in the world. So, Upada Lord is strong, and what about the second Lord from Upada? We are looking at Rasi to see the overall marriage. See, we are doing static analysis now to see if this lady has happiness relating to marriage or not. If there are indications that the person may not get married at all, then we would have picked Sagittarius Dasha instead of Libra Dasha. If there is a late marriage or no marriage that is indicated in the chart, then you can't be sure that Libra Mahadasha will actually give marriage. So, to see which Mahadasha will give marriage, I will look at Navamsa itself, because the Dasha is based on Navamsa. But to see if marriage is destined at all or not, look at the Rashi chart Upada, because that is the most important one. And the second Lord from Upada is Sun, and he is in own house. He's really strong there.
Actually, the Upada and Dharapada are in the same.
Upada, yeah, that is good. Dharpada is basically the physical intimacy and the relationship, the physical aspect of the relationship. And Upada Lagna is the dharmic aspect of that, the aspect of give and take. That is Upada Lagna. And A7 is the aspect of being together physically. So if those two are together, if Upada Lagna and UL are together, that is good. Basically, they will live together for the purpose of dharma as well as they will have physical intimacy. If you see Upada Lagna very strong, but if you see malefic exceptions to Dharpada, you can say that they will live happily for the purpose of the society. They will do good karma for the society as a couple. They will do their dharma well. But in terms of physical intimacy, there may be something lacking. That's what you can conclude if A7 has some weaknesses. So anyway, coming back to the Dasya, so we know that this lady has marriage. She has the planet who brings marriage is very strong. So she can get married at a young age and without lot of problems or without lot of delays, because the planet is Sun, very strong planet for Dharma. Again, Sun is a benefic for the purpose of marriage. Parasura said that Sun is in general a malefic, but for the purpose of marriage, he is a benefic planet. So Libra Mahadasya is Sun. Shani is always a malefic planet. Yeah. And he loves being a malefic planet. So he has no problems. He has no identity crisis.
He feels good with himself.
Yeah. And he wants us to not have any identity crisis. So he will take us into situations where you are ashamed of being yourself. And then he wants you to work your way through that and not be ashamed of yourself and be yourself. That's what Saturn wants from you.
They say Saturn is a great philosopher teacher.
Yeah. He teaches you the wrong way. I mean, he teaches you the tough way. Not wrong way, tough way. He can be very tough. And the analogy they give is, Saturn is like a grandfather who's very strict. He has strict rules. You have to do things that way. If you do any other way, he's not happy. You may still get the same result, but he's not happy. There is a way to do it the way. So he's like a strict, very serious kind of grandfather. And Mercury is like a small child who's very, very active and who's playful, who's funny, witty and playful. And they say that Saturn, no other planet can win the heart of Saturn except Mercury. Saturn is always very serious and he will be frowning upon everything. But only Mercury can make him smile. Just like a small child can make a serious grandfather smile. So the rule is, if Saturn is with Mercury, he can be more relaxed.
Saturn gets more relaxed.
Yeah, Mercury gets the peaceful nature of Saturn out. Otherwise, Saturn is a very serious planet. Now, Libra Mahadasya can certainly give the result. Everybody agrees with that, right? Yeah. Now, let's see the 1/3. The first 1/3, who will give the result? Second 1/3 and third 1/3. Yeah.
One question is from Navamsa we felt that it could happen either in Libra or in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
And
Sagittarius is coming too late.
Too late.
So we say Libra is capable of giving.
Okay.
Yeah.
The truth is also even what is Aries can give, even Leo can give.
Aries and Leo can also give.
But they're not as strong.
They are not as strong. They are not as strong. And let us say hypothetically Libra was also coming, let's say here in 2031. And let's say Aries or Leo were coming earlier. I would have picked Aries or Leo. Right. So strong candidates are Libra and Sagittarius, and okay candidates are Aries and Leo. So that is what you said is right. Sometimes you won't get the best Mahadasya to give the result. You have to settle with something lower. That does happen. So now, Libra Mahadasya. Is it now Sriram will answer all the questions because he missed the last class. Is it Srishodaya or Prashodaya? It is Srishodaya Rasi. So it will tend to give its results in the first 1/3 itself. Then the Lord, who is the Lord of
Venus.
Libra? Venus. Is he in Srishodaya or Prashodaya?
Sagittarius.
He is in Sagittarius. You are breaking the rules. I will be Saturn and I will Prashodaya Rasi. So because it's back rising, Venus will give the results being the Lord of Libra in the last 1/3. So who will give the results in the middle 1/3?
There's no occupants in there.
You are getting lost? You are surprised. Okay. Me too. Okay. So we look at whether the sign is Okay, so the guy who actually is the class is fine. Those who attended are no confused. See, first look at Libra, because it is after all Libra Dasha. See if it is back rising or front rising, Sishodaya or Prishchodaya. Is Libra Sishodaya or Prishchodaya? Huh? Sishodaya. Again, if you to refresh you, Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Sagittarius, Capricorn.
They're all.
You can remember the numbers 1, 2, 4, 9, 10. 1, 2, 4, 9, 10. Those are the signs that are Prishchodaya. And Pisces is Ubhyodaya. Everything else is Sishodaya. So Libra is a Sishodaya Rashi. So it will choose the first available 1/3 to give its result. So first 1/3, the first 4 Antardashas will be Libra's period. So the next turn to choose is the Lord of Libras. He will come and choose the available 1/3 based on his preference. What is his preference? Is he in the Lord of Libra is Venus. See where he is. Is he in Sishodaya Rashi or Prishchodaya Rashi? Venus is in Sagittarius, which is Prishchodaya. It is a back rising sign. So Venus will want to give his results towards the end, as late as possible. So among the available second 1/3 and third 1/3, which one will he choose? The last 1/3. So the last 4 Antardashas, the results of Venus will be given. The first 4 Antardashas, the results of Libra will be given. Who will give results in the middle 1/3? The occupants and the aspectors. Who are the occupants? None. Who are the aspectors? See, no, not Saturn. We are talking about Rashi Drishti. So let us click this menu item. Who are aspecting? Aquarius is aspecting. Taurus is aspecting. Leo is aspecting.
But you take the planets or you take the Rashis as?
No, planets. So who are the planets in the sign or aspecting the sign? Only Jupiter. So the whole four Antardasha period, Jupiter gets to take without sharing with anybody else. So if Jupiter being the Upada Lord and Darakarka and being the aspector of Libra, if he can give the result, can this 1/3, the second 1/3 give the marriage? Yes. If that is the case, which part of that 1/3 will the marriage come from? Which Antardasha? So what is the rule? Look at whether he is benefic or malefic. Is Jupiter a benefic?
It's a natural benefit.
He is a natural benefic. Anybody has a doubt? He is a pakka benefic. He is the 3rd and 6th lord here. This is Libra Lagna. So Jupiter is the 3rd and 6th lord. So functionally he is a malefic, but we don't care. Naturally he is a benefic. So we look at that alone. So the first 1/4, he will give the result of his state.
Where is staying?
Right. Is the Leo or...
Is he in friendly sign? Yeah, he is in an Admitra Rashi. He is in an Admitra Rashi. So he will give all the results relating to that. But being in Admitra Rashi, is that the reason for his giving marriage?
No, there is Dharpada there too.
For me? But there is not state.
No, Jupiter is there. First,
Oh, sorry. You're right. He doesn't give the results of his state in the first 1/4. You're right. I was saying it the wrong way. Whatever you heard, just erase it. Jupiter being a benefic, first he attends to the sign he occupies, the 11th house. He will give the results of being in 11th house, being in Dharpada. So those results Jupiter will give in the first 1/4 of his period, which is from 93 May to 93 July. So those are the results given by Jupiter. And in the second 1/4, he will give the results of the houses he owns. So 3rd and 6th house true, but also the aspecting of the owning the Upada Lagna. That result is also given in the second 1/4 because that is ownership. So because Jupiter is giving this particular result, the marriage, being the Lord of Upada aspecting Libra, he will give result in the 1/4 corresponding to owning Upada, in the 1/3 corresponding to aspecting Libra.
But let me ask you this, the 2 houses he owns.
Yeah.
So that when he has to give results of the houses he owns,
yeah.
Do you again divide that into 2, or it just both of them are coming at the same time?
There may be some rules, but I'm not aware of those. I'm not aware of those rules. His question was Sagittarius and Pisces. There are 2 signs owned by him. So do you divide that 1/12 of the dasha? 1/3 is Jupiter's period. 1/4 of that, which is 1/12 of the whole Mahadasha, is for the result given by Jupiter as the lord of those two signs. His question is, can I further subdivide into two halves and say Pisces will give result in one period and Sagittarius will give its result in the other period? My answer is I'm not really sure. I don't really know of any rules that consistently work. I haven't experimented.
UL was not in Sagittarius, but it was in, say, somewhere else. Then, the lord of that house also will have an influence during this period, during this portion?
No, wait. Upada, let us say, was not in Sagittarius, but let us say for some reason it was in Scorpio. Right? So then Jupiter would not have given marriage at all.
Well, because Dharapada could have given physical relationship, but dharmic relationship.
Not really, The marriage is an Upada related activity. It's not an affair, it's a marriage, yes. So, probably then Jupiter would not have given the marriage. If the lord of that Upada is still associated with Lagna, he may have given the marriage. In that case, I would have guessed the lord of Lagna, Venus, would have given marriage. Because he is with Ketu. Or if Venus and Ketu were in Upada somewhere else, definitely Venus would have given the marriage then. In the 1/4 corresponding to Venus. Sorry, in the 1/3 corresponding to Venus.
Always marriage. Upada is very important.
Upada is very important, Lagna is very important. There has to be a connection between them.
Lagna and Upada.
Yeah. Lagna is the physical part of it, what is happening on the ground. Upada is the dharmic part of it, and Karaka is the spiritual, the soul part of it. Dharkaraka is the bringing together of two souls. Dharkaraka is the connection at the soul level. So when all the three are together, all the three are conjoining, there is a confluence between those parameters, then you can expect marriage.
Even the Las Vegas marriages also you can do, Upada should be strong.
Yeah. Maybe or maybe not, Well, experiment. If you say marriage, see Upada, what is Upada? Is the Arudha of the 12th house. 12th house is giving, compromise. So it's basically entering into a compromise, entering into a give and take relationship, entering into a give and take arrangement, that is marriage. And Dharpada is just 7th house, Kama. 7th house is the desire basically, Kama Trikona's base. So if you are basically getting together for the purpose of desire, then later when it comes to give and take, there will be problems. So if there is a relationship that is purely on the basis of Dharpada, there will be physical intimacy, but it will not last for a long time because a real marriage will involve give and take. That is what Upada signifies. So even if the marriage is in Las Vegas, whatever it is, if the idea is to be together and to go through, to have a compromise in both the lives and to combine the lives together, if that is the idea, and also do your dharma in the society, if that is the idea, then it is Upada. But if it is a one night stand or a one month affair, probably
Monday they get go further.
But right, if they got married with the intention of marriage, with the intention of being together, it may still be visible in the Upada. But what people say is, Upada is, this is Sanjay Ji's definition. Sanjay Ji's definition is, if two people get married and stay together for at least 1 year without thinking about any other person, then it is marriage. Otherwise it's not a marriage. So even if somebody got married, if the marriage was broken the immediate next day, it may not actually be seen as a marriage. It may not be an Upada. So if you have the chart of some, let's say, Britney Spears or somebody, you can experiment. But this is a tricky thing. When you're talking about marriages, this is a very tricky thing because especially in Kali Yuga, especially in this age, and particularly in this country, it's a very complicated thing to define which one to define as marriage and which one to define as an affair is very, very tricky. People may be living together for 3 years without any formal marriage. They may be just roommates, but they may be like wife and husband, and they may have done it for some financial reasons. There are cases like that, and in that case, in my judgment, it does qualify as a marriage. In India, in old days, everybody would just get married to one person and that's it. So it's so easy to look at the marriages. But here, when you are looking at people's charts, and if you are trying to make predictions about when they will get married, when they will get divorced, or when they will get married again, you have to look at the Upada. I told you earlier that Upada is the first marriage, 8th house from it is the second marriage in the Rashi chart, and the 8th house from that is next marriage. So for the purpose of that counting, you have to really think seriously. For example, somebody came to me, I couldn't explain his marriages. He had 3 marriages. And when I looked at which Upada gave marriage, and I looked at the Narayan Dasha of the Rashi chart, and looked at the Antardasha, whether it was aspecting the Upada when he got married, and whether it was aspecting the second from Upada when he got divorced. When I looked at all those things, it didn't make sense. And then I looked at a particular 9-month period when he did not really get married. But in my judgment, that is probably when he got married first. If I made that assumption, the first marriage that he told me was visible as the second marriage very clearly from the chart. The second marriage that he told me about became visible as the third marriage in the chart very clearly. So all the 3 marriages that he told me about, they became clearly visible in the chart, but as the second, third and fourth marriages. So his count is off. So I asked him, during so-and-so month, so-and-so 9-month period, did you have a very serious affair? Then he said, oh yeah, I had a very serious affair. I met a lady, and it was like a relationship from the past life or something. We were so seriously, we had a very serious relationship. And so he confessed to that. And then everything made sense to me. So like this, if you miss a particular serious affair, even if it did not result in a marriage, all your readings will basically go wrong. Everything is shifted. So what you think is the second marriage may actually be the first marriage. So you have to really, in this age, and the person that I am talking about is not even an American. He is an Indian who came to US. And he had 3 divorces and 1 extra non-marriage marriage basically.
So is 8th from Upada or 7th from 7th?
8th from Upada is the second marriage.
Elizabeth Taylor will be a good candidate.
Yeah. Using the standard principles in theory, you can go up to 12 marriages. Keep taking 8 from Upada. After 12, you are basically back to the same sign. And exactly what to do then is not really given in classics or in the solution. So after 12 marriages, you can find out.
You still can go 5 more.
Okay, good.
The place of marriage is not important, right?
It's not really important.
Why I said Las Vegas? That kind of marriage.
It's a marriage.
Not related to any dharmic thing. There is no,
like we can see that.
It doesn't like the church is not involved in it.
But like I said, the purpose of marriage is not exactly dharma, not exactly church, not exactly anything. It's basically a give and take relationship where you have an understanding that you are going to compromise, both of you are going to compromise and live together for growing the family and doing some dharma in society. So that's basically the definition of marriage. But instead of being sidetracked with the definition of marriage, let us go back to this particular case. So, if Jupiter is giving the result, if Jupiter is giving the marriage as the planet aspecting Lagna, his owning Upada is very important. So, it can happen in the second quarter of the second 1/3. So, which is 1993 July 11 to 1993 September 11. That is
highest odds of marriage.
Pardon me?
It looks like that has the highest odds.
That has the highest odds of marriage. So, does everybody agree that is when she may have got married?
But it didn't realize the 3rd and 4th year.
Pardon me?
It didn't realize the 3rd and 4th phases yet.
Third and fourth.
Okay, 3rd quarter. What is the result given in the 3rd quarter?
Yoga.
The yoga. Does Jupiter have any yogas?
No.
Does he have any yoga? Not really. He doesn't really have any yoga.
You see the Graga Drishti, right? Yeah. For yoga?
Yeah. If you see if he has any yogas, Viparita Yoga, Raj Yogas, or any kind of yogas. If he has any yogas, he will give the results of those yogas in that 1/3. And see, let me put this in perspective. All the results will be given throughout the Mahadasha. But during that particular period, the result will peak out.
Because it's the most effective during that.
It's most effective during that particular period. Now, the 4th 1/4, that particular period, Jupiter will give the results of
The Avastha, which is
the Avastha. So, Jupiter is in
friendly sign.
He is in a friendly sign. Jupiter is in a very friendly sign actually. And is he, how much Uchchavala does he have?
I thought only getting to the Exaltation is Uchabala. Coming out the exaltation also is Uchabala.
How close to exaltation is the Uchabala? So you see the deep debilitation point, see the longitude difference. It will be from 0 to 180, you divide it by 3, and then you get the Bala, Uchabala on a scale of 0 to 60. So at the deep exaltation point it will be 60, deep debilitation point it will be 0. So here if you look at strength, some guys are cheating, they are looking at the strength to find out the Uchabala. You are supposed to estimate. So Uchabala is, you have to look at Sthanabala. So Uchabala is for Jupiter, what? Okay, sorry, this is in Rasi.
Right.
Sorry, so you can't cheat.
Yes. You can't cheat.
So you have to,
not getting it.
when you are looking at the Navamsa, if you want to see how strong Jupiter is in Navamsa, you have to see whether he is in a friendly sign in Navamsa, you have to see whether he is close to his exaltation point in Navamsa. So you can't get around, you can't get away from remembering the exaltation signs of planets. So Jupiter is very close to his exaltation point, so he will have a strong Uchabala. So overall that period is also a good period. But as far as predicting the marriage is concerned, you would have chosen July 11 to September 11, 1993. And she did get married during that particular Antardasha. During that Dasha, she got married. Now, I won't ask you to time when she got married within that Antardasha. That is enough. Let us look at her Dashamsa.
Actually, I have a friend who is living together for about 14 years now.
Yeah?
Without marriage.
Without marriage, that is marriage. That is marriage.
From 16, it's about 13 now.
14 years is not enough. I mean, not necessarily. 14 months is enough. That is marriage.
Not doing it for financial reasons.
Yeah.
I know, my neighbor does it.
Let us see Dashamsa Narayana Dasha. So for Dashamsa Narayana Dasha, how do we find it? We take the 10th Lord. Here it is Moon. See where he is in the Dashamsa. He is in Libra. Take that sign as Lagna and find it. As if that was. Treat the Dashamsa as if it is Rasi chart. And treat the sign containing Moon, who is the 10th Lord in Rasi chart. And take that sign as Lagna. Here that is Lagna anywhere. So you find it starts from Libra. So now,
can you say again, what did you say? You take the 10th Lord in the Rasi.
Yeah.
And then
you take the, if you are looking at Narayana Dasha of DN,
right?
Look at the nth Lord in Rasi chart. The Lord of the nth house in Rasi chart. See where he is in the Dashamsa. Take the sign where he is in the Dashamsa. Treat that as Lagna. Forget the actual Lagna. Treat that sign as Lagna and treat the DN chart, the Dashamsa chart here in this case, as Rasi chart, and just apply the Narayana Dasha rules that I taught you in the case of Rasi. Same competition. Then you get DN Narayana Dasha.
I think that's what we need when Rekana and all those things.
Everything, for everything that is the basic rule. And the idea there is, in the case of Rasi chart, Lagna is your physical existence. So that is where Vishnu is. That is where Narayana is living, in your physical existence. And you want to see how he progresses. When you were created by Brahma, he gave you a certain form. And in that form there is Narayana. And you are trying to see how that Narayana changes from time to time. What kind of changes he goes through. In the case of Dashamsa, this is just an environment. This whole chart, where Venus is, where the 8th house is, this is the professional environment in which you operate. But Narayana is in the actual work that you do in that environment. Narayana is not in the environment. He is in the work you do in that environment. So what you want to do is how the interaction between the Narayana, which is the work that you are doing, and the environment changes, your professional environment changes from time to time. And I said that Narayana lives in the work that you do. How do you see the work you do? He is the 10th house. 10th house is the work that you do. And 10th Lord, he is basically the animation, the intelligence behind the work that you do. And that is where Narayana is. Narayana is in the intelligence behind, he is the driving force behind the work you do. He is the driving force behind everything actually. He is the driving force behind the work that you do. He is the driving force behind your abilities, how you exercise your abilities. He is the driving force behind everything. So when you look at the lords of various houses in the Rasi chart, Narayana lives in each of those. So one particular aspect of it becomes important when you are looking at one divisional chart. When you look at D10, the 10th Lord becomes important. The 10th Lord is the work that you do. The intelligence applied to the work that you do. So that Narayana, you see him in Dashamsa, see how he is impacted from time to time by the professional environment. So that shows what kind of work that you do at a particular given time. How you do that work, it shows that. So,
when we transfer this, for example, here we started with Libra, of course, because the strength of the Lagna house is stronger. But if the 7th house from that was stronger, the progression would have gone from 7th house.
It would have gone from 7th house, and irrespective of it, you take that particular sign and apply the rules that I am teaching you. Yes. Okay.
Going Aquarius.
So, the person is running Aquarius Dasha. Is it possible that she will have a job during Aquarius Dasha? Oops. One second. Aquarius Dasha, yeah.
Aquarius is 5th house.
Aquarius 5th house.
During Aquarius Mahadasha, is it possible that the person will have a career? Is Aquarius a Sishwadaya Rashi?
Yes.
Aquarius is a Sishwadaya Rashi. Okay. Where is the Lord?
Lord is in Saturn.
Saturn is in
8th house. 8th house is Venus.
No, Taurus, Prishtorya.
8th house is Taurus.
Taurus.
So that is
That is
Prishwadaya.
also
For me?
2 lords are there. No, we are taking.
Yeah,
Yes,
Rahu
yes,
also
good
is-
point. Who is the stronger Lord? Let us look at options. Rahu is taken as stronger. So let us take Rahu.
Why is Saturn Rahu taken? It actually was an inimical planet Mars.
Both are having 2.
2-2. That's right. Then you got to start comparing.
Yeah.
Saturn with Venus. I guess 2 planets. Who's exalted? There's nobody exalted there.
We have to look at
Okay.
and
Jupiter, Mercury and the dispositor. If you want to find the stronger of Saturn and Rahu, what is the rule? The first rule is how many planets they are with. Saturn is with one planet Venus. Rahu is with one planet Mars. The second rule is
any
aspect by Jupiter or Mercury or the dispositor. The third rule is exaltation. So forget exaltation. First apply the second rule. Swami Gurujna Drupyoga. That is the rule, Javanese rule. So for Saturn, who is the Lord? The Lord is dispositor is Venus, Mercury is Mercury. He is aspecting him. So his count is 2. For Rahu again, Jupiter is the dispositor as well as Jupiter is Jupiter. So Jupiter's aspect on Rahu has a count of 2. Jupiter being Jupiter and Jupiter being the dispositor. So again his count is 2. Now look at exaltation, debilitation.
Right.
Neither of them is.
Venus is in his own house.
Yeah, but Saturn is not exalted.
We are looking at Saturn and
We are looking at Saturn. He is not exalted. And
That alone you got to look at.
Yeah.
People associated you don't look at.
Yes. And actually, strictly speaking, Parasara did not mention own sign. He only said exaltation, debilitation. So that rule is also not working. And so what is the next rule?
longitude.
No, it's actually odd sign and even sign.
Right.
Energy, basically.
Right.
The
Both of them are in the same even sign. So that doesn't help. So the next rule, do you know what is the next rule? I don't think I taught you. No, before that there is another rule. The next rule is dual signs, mobile signs and fixed signs. Mobile signs are the weakest. Fixed signs are stronger. Dual signs are even stronger. So look at the signs occupied by the planet and then
Rahu is in dual sign.
Rahu is in dual sign, so he wins. If that two doesn't resolve the tie, the next rule is what you said, comparing the longitudes, but that is for the purpose of finding who is the Lord, for finding Arudha or something. For the purpose of Dasha, Narayan Dasha or Charadasha, the rule is see who gives more years. Whichever planet is giving more years, you take that planet as the Lord. That is what Parasara said. So here anyway, the dual and mobile, that thing resolves the tie. So Rahu is the Lord.
So it is Ubhayodaya.
So it is Ubhyodaya. He is an Ubhyodaya Rashi. So Rahu will try to give his results.
In the middle part. In the middle part.
Rahu will give his results in the middle 1/3. And what about
Planets occupied by it? There's no planets occupied by it.
planets aspecting?
Aspecting it.
So who are aspecting Aquarius?
Sun.
Sun, Moon and Mercury. Sun, Moon and Mercury will give their results in the last 1/3. The first 1/3, Aquarius itself gives the result, being a Sishwadaya Rashi. Second 1/3, Rahu will give his result. And third 1/3,
Sun, Moon, Mercury.
Sun, Moon and Mercury will give their results. And now let us see When Aquarius itself is giving its results, is there a possibility that she has a job? When she wasn't working at the beginning of this dasa.
No.
Earlier when I told you about somebody not having a job, getting a job offer, which house did I say was important for seeing this tonight? Pardon me? 6th house is the house of service, which is the house for recognition. Recognition of your abilities and being given a chance.
5th house.
5 is good, but generally 5th house. We are talking about houses. 5th house is the house of recognition of your ability. It is the house of recognition. So, Aquarius is the house of recognition. Aquarius is the 5th house. And it contains, even though it contains Vrichupada, it contains Bhagyapada and Darapada also. So, is there a chance that during Aquarius Dasha she will be working in the first 1/3? When Aquarius gives the results of being the 5th house itself,
Yes.
is there a chance that the person will work, will get an opportunity to work and will work?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is a possibility. You can't say confidently, but there is certainly a possibility. And during that particular, most of that 1/3 she was actually working. She was working for a couple of years. During those 4 years, and again, like I said, the results of the sign given, there is no further subdivision into 4 parts or 3 parts. I'm not aware of any. So we'll just look at those 4 Antardashas as one unit. So during that Antardasha, because there is Bhagyapada and also this is the 5th house, she can get an opportunity. And another important thing, when you are judging a sign as a sign, the placement from Lagna alone is not important. The placement from Arudha Lagna is also important, right?
Yeah.
So, when you are judging Aquarius Dasha from Arudha Lagna, is it well placed or badly placed?
3rd house.
3rd house. What does 3rd house show? Initiative, boldness, bravery, etc. But Aquarius being the 3rd house, will the 3rd house Dasha from Arudha Lagna always give good result? Will it give initiative or lack of initiative? How do you know? Will it give compromise, satisfaction, not trying for something else? Or will it give trying for something else?
Malefics are occupying it.
Not occupying. We are not talking about occupants here. We are talking about sign. Aquarius being Aquarius. Forget other factors like...
Completely, because Aquarius is not an energy sign, a theory sign.
That's not how you look at it. Again, you look at benefic or malefic. See, Saturn is a complacent planet.
Right.
But still Saturn in 3rd from Arudha is good for material image.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Any malefic in the 3rd from Arudha or 6th from Arudha is good. Saturn in the 3rd, Saturn in the 6th from Arudha is very good. Jupiter in the 3rd, Venus in the 3rd or 6th from Arudha is very bad materially. But it may be good for a spiritual person.
But Saturn is Kurma Avtara. Saturn is supposed to be a sluggish, slow-moving person.
Yeah.
How can he give initiative?
He will give slow. He is slow, but he is the only planet of patience.
I know, but in
So,
initiative, there is patience. You move very slowly.
That initiative.
10.
Pardon me?
That exact discussion is in chapter 10 for about 15 minutes.
So listen to it. Thank you.
Saturn in 3rd house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So listen to it, and then if you are still confused, we can discuss it in the next chapter. So the rule is, remember that malefics in the 3rd and 6th from Arudha Lagna are excellent for material prosperity and material success, but terrible for spiritual progress. You will not compromise. You will have desires. You will be doing things. And if you are a saint, during that time, you will be seen as somebody who is pursuing material things. So it's bad for your image. So it is bad for spiritual people and good for material people. And for benefic planets, it is vice versa. And in the case of signs, when you are judging the result given by a sign in this 1/3, look at the malefic and benefic nature of the signs. So basically what we do is, for that, the standard rule is, Parashara defined which signs are malefic and which signs are benefic. But an easy way to remember that is, look at the Lord. A sign owned by Saturn is malefic. A sign owned by Jupiter is benefic. So that is how you judge it. Suppose Libra was the Arudha Lagna. Sagittarius Dasha, would it be materially good or bad?
The Lord is benefic, so it is not...
Yeah, it's a benefic sign in the 3rd from Arudha Lagna. So it will be not so good. So materially it's not so good.
Although it's Dhanus, which is supposed to be a theory sign.
Yeah, even though it is a theory sign, yes. It shows compromise and Complacency, basically. That's what it shows. So here Aquarius, not only is the 5th house from Lagna, but it is 3rd house from Aruh Lagna. And from Bhagyapada, Mrityapada, it is the 1st house itself. What does Bhagyapada show?
Protection.
The fortune, the blooming of the fortune. And Darapada, what does it show?
Getting associated with some
Meeting some people, starting off some new associations. So during that dasha, she can have new associations. She can have some new colleagues, new working relationships can start, and she will get good protection. Her fortune will basically bloom. But at the same time, Mrityapada is there. So in the same 1/3, there can be some danger also. As a matter of fact, she started. Pardon me? She may quit. So during this Santardasha, during this 1/3 of the Mahadasha, she started working. She worked for around a couple of years, and then she was laid off. She was laid off, and then what happens in the next 1/3? In that particular 1/3, she did not get a job again. Suppose she was looking for a job in the next 1/3. Would you have expected her to get a job or not?
Yes.
So who will get the results in the next 1/3?
Rahu.
Rahu will give the results in the next 1/3.
And he is the
And
6th house of service.
for me,
He is the 5th Lord in the 6th house of service.
6th house of service, yes.
No. For Lord, there is a different rule, right?
Yes.
Again, we have to see the malefic and
Yeah. So is Rahu benefic or malefic?
malefic.
Is he?
He's in bad state.
He is a clear malefic. And is he in a good state or bad state?
In bad state. With Mars and House of
He
Fight.
is in a good state or bad state?
Bad.
Bad state. Why?
Mars is
The
them.
6th house with Mars.
He is in, first of all, he is in inimical sign. He is an enemy sign. Good enemy, worst enemy or normal enemy? Shatru or Adhishatru?
Normal enemy.
Why normal enemy?
So Jupiter is
Look at Tatkalika relationship.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
The normal relationship, the permanent relationship is enemy. And look at the, not Adi, Adhishatru. And the temporary relationship is, Jupiter is further away from him. The planets in the next 3 signs, these 3 signs, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, or Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Those 6 signs will be Tatkalika Mitras, temporary friends. Everybody further away will be temporary enemy. So Jupiter is a permanent enemy as well as temporary enemy. So what is the compound relationship? Adhishatru, terrible enemy. So he is in Adhishatru's house. So the 5th Lord who shows recognition is in Adhishatru's house. So when it comes to giving the results of his avastha, his state, is he likely that he will give a good job?
no.
It's not likely. He is not likely to give recognition.
Yeah.
He is likely to give problems. So 2003 May to 2004 April, we don't expect her to get any job. The second 1/3,
Yogas.
what are the results given by
Yogas. Association.
Rahu? Tell me, what do you expect?
Guru Mangala.
Yeah, but let us concentrate on the yogas that Rahu is directly taking part in. Not yogas that other planets with Rahu are taking part in. Rahu, does he have any yoga here?
Mars is a lot of the 7th house and 2nd house.
Yeah.
Rahu is a lot of the 5th house.
So,
Yeah, 5th and
5th Lord and 7th Lord are together. 5th
7th.
Lord and 7th Lord are
Together.
together. The 5th Lord Rahu and the 7th Lord Mars are together. So is that a Raj Yoga? Yeah, it's a trial and quadrant Lord, it's a Raj Yoga. What does that Raj Yoga show? What is Mars' agenda? He's the 7th Lord. Does he show service?
No.
Relationship.
No.
Business.
Mars does not show service. If there is any planet who shows service here, it is anybody except Mars. Rahu may show service, Jupiter may show service, Ketu may show service. Everybody is capable of showing service in some way or the other. But Mars and Sun, those are the 2 planets who definitely do not show any service at all. They show business. They show independent work. So, because Rahu is giving the results of Mars association in this particular period, is it likely that she will join service even though those 2 planets are in the 6th house of service?
Probably not. She's going to
Not.
try some
So
business.
she wants to do some business. And because they are in the 6th house, she will be working hard. She will be working either working for somebody or doing some service and overcoming lot of obstacles, dealing with obstacles, etc. That's what she will be doing. But she wants to put her abilities in use in a business because of the yoga between 5th and 7th Lord. So during this period, during 2004-2005, she somehow, she wanted to get into some business. So she was trying various things with a couple of different people, and she did not want to join a job at all. She didn't even type her resume. She wanted to try her hand at business. So that is clearly coming out in using the 3 parts and 4 parts rule. And now, recently she started the third 1 quarter. Any prognostication? What results will Rahu give in the third quarter? The house he owns. So being the 5th lord in the 6th house. So can he give some recognition in the work that she's trying to do?
Yes.
Either getting a job or even in the partnership that she's trying. Can Rahu give some break, lucky break?
Right.
Rahu is
Contract job.
why contract job?
A3.
Okay, Rahu is in A3 also. But Rahu's occupancy will give its result in the last 1/3. Now Rahu will give the result of being owner of Bhagyapada, owner of Dharpada, owner of 5th house. Those results will be given by Rahu. Being the owner of those, he can show some recognition coming to her. So that's
But what will owner of that A8 will do in that case? With the Mrithipada.
Well, that's Mrithipada.
It could be if he has a job, leaving the job also. Or she may be trying for something and then stop the whole thing and try for something else. Yes. So there will be breaks, there will be anxiety. It will not be smooth. When Mrithipada or 8th house are involved, it will not be smooth. So that is, but the bottom line is Rahu being the 5th lord. See, earlier it was 5th house which gave her a job. So when Rahu gives his result as the 5th lord, again there is some hope. So next
March to
2005 March to 2006 February, I would say is a favorable period for her. Whatever she is trying, something may materialize during this period. What do you say about the last 1/3? 2006 February to 2007 January.
occupancy.
In the last 1 quarter of the period where Rahu will give his results, being the Lord of Aquarius.
Right. The last one is now his occupancy.
No. He is giving his results in this whole quarter because he is the Lord of Aquarius.
Right.
And now within that, the focus in the last 1 quarter will be occupying the 6th house. So, what is the result of 5th lord basically occupying the 6th house?
Working hard.
So he will give the focus will be on the 6th house. So either overcoming lot of obstacles or joining service, joining a job. She may try her hand at all kinds of business, but she may finally give up during that period, and she may start in a job. That is possible. And another possibility is within the business, she will have to work hard. She will have lot of obstacles, but she will be overcoming them. But that will be a period of lot of karma, lot of activity, because the 6th house is involved. And also A3 is involved there. So A3 can show a contract job or even floating a venture. 3rd house is the initiative, and A3 is manifestation of that initiative. So any
some job that's involved in the short traveling.
It can show that also. Any job that involves short travels, any contract job, or any incorporation of a company or things like that, they are shown by A3.
Again, all related to Aquarius, right? So all will be related to A5 matters.
All relating to 5th house matters.
Yeah.
Because the Rahu is giving all these results being the Aquarius lord. You should not lose track of it. Always, that is the basis. On that, everything else stands. Rahu being Adhitya Sthana, Rahu being in 6th house, Rahu being the 5th lord, Rahu having a yoga with Mars, 7th lord. All the results are from the point of view of Rahu being the 5th lord of abilities. So the focus is putting the abilities to use. Why they say putting the abilities to use? 5th house itself is abilities. 5th lord is putting the abilities to use. Lord is always intelligence, the driving force, the animation basically. That is what Lord of any house shows. So Lord of 5th house shows putting the abilities to use. Lord of 4th house shows putting the Sukha to use, or basically driving the Sukha, controlling the Sukha. So the Lord always shows the intelligence behind a particular matter. So that is one basic point that you should not lose track of. But can you make a prognostication about the last 1/3? See, middle sense 1/3 is so-so. Rahu is not really a great planet here. He is an okay planet. But look at the last 1 quarter of Aquarius Dasha. Aquarius is the 5th house and is being aspected by who are aspecting it?
Moon Mercury.
Oops. Hung. Yeah. Hung.
Yeah, that's one.
No, yeah. So highlight the, what happened? Oops. So Aquarius is being aspected by Sun, Moon and Mercury. Who are more advanced? Sun is at 25 degrees, Moon is at 29 degrees.
Definitely Atmakaraka is top.
Yeah, Atmakaraka, Moon will be stronger. Next, Bhratrakaraka, Sun. And where is Mercury? He is Jnatikaraka. So he comes last. He is only 7 degrees. So the order is Moon, Sun and Mercury. Keep that order in mind. Moon, Sun and Mercury. Now, if you divide this, how many months is this? 3 years and 8 months. 3 years, 8 months. So that is 44 months. If you divide 44 months into 3 parts, that is roughly 15 months. So roughly 1 year and 3 months. So the first 1 year and 3 months, 2007 January to 2008 April. So that will be the results of Moon's aspect on Aquarius. Not complete results of Moon, but Moon's aspect on Aquarius. So that is when Moon will give his results. Then next 15 months will be Sun's aspect. Next, Mercury's aspect. Are all those 3 basically good periods?
Moon is 10th house.
Moon is the Lord of 10th house in Rasi chart as well as Dasamsa chart. Yeah. Mercury is the Lord of 9th house. Do you see a yoga between Moon and Mercury?
Yes.
There is a Dharma Karmadhapat yoga, a great Raj Yoga, that too happening in Lagna itself. It's a very, any Raj Yoga occurring in Lagna or any trine is particularly powerful. So, there is a Dharma Karmadhapat yoga in Lagna. And what about Sun? He is the 11th Lord in 7th. 11th Lord, what is his agenda?
Gains.
Fruits, gains, getting the fruits of the work. And he is in the 7th house of business. So any business that she does, he is the one who brings the gains. Other planets are not really capable of bringing any gains. They are only capable of bringing hard work for business. Rahu, being with Mars, he can only bring some hard work, using the abilities, using the connections, doing something, but he won't bring any fruits. The fruits are promised by Sun.
A5 is also there.
Yeah. So, the middle 1/3, 2008 April to 2009 July, that is the period when actual gains will come. And just when I was about to say this sentence, there was a phone ringing. You should always look at the nimittas also when you are thinking of something, when you are about to say something. If there are certain signs that are happening around you, a good astrologer should keep an eye on those things. Any bell ringing is supposed to be a good, it means that will come true. That is the meaning of that. So if you see any bell ringing or any auspicious sound like that or any nice music when you are saying something, don't tell somebody, I'll make a prediction at 10. It won't work then. If it happens by itself, basically, if there is a signal sent by the God without your manipulation, then that means that God is telling you, yes, you are thinking in the right line, that will actually come true. Similarly, let us say,
we should not turn off our cell phones.
yeah.
Make sure you call.
That's why the meeting shut down your cell phone.
Suppose you are saying, I'm not sure who will give the result in this case. There is a Raj Yoga between Shani and Mercury. Either Shani or Mercury will give the result. I'm not sure. Maybe it will be Mercury. And when you are saying it, suppose exactly at that time, a small girl or a small boy walks into the room and he is playing around in one corner. What is the meaning of that nimitta? Who does the small boy indicate? Saturn or Mercury? Mercury. So it is a signal from the God because you are confused whether it is Saturn or Mercury. Assuming that God wants to help you for some reason, He is happy with you and He wants to help you, He will send that child. Then you can take clue, oh, it is actually Mercury. Then you can go to Mercury Dasha and say, it will happen in Mercury Dasha. So like that, you can pay attention to what is happening around you, and then you can use that as an extra input to resolve any confusions that you have in your mind, or to reinforce something that you are thinking. So that is how you use the nimittas. But here the nimitta was the phone rang just when I was about to say that it is sun's portion which will actually bring the fruits. So
And the sun came out too.
so basically it will be 2008 April to 2009 September, July, when actually she will see some gains and some fruits because of all the efforts that she is putting in. And I will tell the lady, I will give the prediction to her as the prediction of the class. But overall, even Moon and Mercury are good periods. Moon and Mercury will give good results being Yoga Karakas, Raj Yoga givers, Dharma Karmadhara Yoga givers. So overall, the last 1/3 will be the highlight of this whole Dasha, this Aquarius Mahadasha. So like this, you can divide the Dasha into various parts and judge. Now I need some volunteers. You said you have a tricky chart. Can we see the tricky chart?
I think during Moon Mercury she will also be in a powerful post which is having GL and 810 also. So I think that time she will be definitely doing.
Yes, GL and there are Yogadas also. Absolutely.
Before we go to, I have a question.
Yes, go
Like
ahead.
the Rahu and Mars as yoga forming there.
Yeah.
When I look at the yoga here, it doesn't show up as a yoga there, right? Yoga.
What doesn't it? It should. There is a bug in software. Go to Amsha. Go to strengths.
Yeah, I'm
Other strengths, but it shows by default in D1.
no, I have.
Say select in Navamsha.
No, D10, right?
Ah, sorry, D10.
Jupiter, Mars.
Yeah, it does not show.
It does not
It
show.
somehow it is not taking Rahu as the fifth lord. Basically, I think the yoga calculation module, I think is taking just 7 lords. 7 planets as the lords of science. It's
No,
not,
I
it's not
thought that
including.
maybe some other higher.
Yeah. It is a Raj Yoga. You should have
No,
known.
it should have.
Yeah.
These are our yoga, but
Yeah.
I was trying to see the two of them.
Yeah, right.
So Rahu Mars together is Raj Yoga.
Rahu what? See, but it's an uncomfortable, I will call it uncomfortable Raj Yoga. But software is supposed to give it. No, I'm not fixing it. Yes. The Lord Rasi is taking these pixel lords.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's not including any yogas given by Rahu and Ketu as quadrant or trine lords. If they take part in any yoga, then the results are not given. That's the problem. Good. I'll fix it. Consider both basically. Then it will be answered.
Okay, the data is January 11th.
Yeah?
One question I have on this.
On this chart, okay, 1 second, sorry.
When you said the prediction of the sun dasha, which is
Not Sun Dasha,
not sun,
the portion of
the portion of the
Aquarius Dasha when Sun will give his results.
So is that result coming from business or from service?
Sun's results will be from business.
So it will be from business.
Yes.
So in the last phase of the second portion,
Yeah.
the fourth quarter of the second portion,
Yeah.
she is not giving up the business and
She may not, yeah.
she may not be
She
joining.
may not give up the business. She may still be, but working hard basically.
Okay.
Because he will give the result of being in the 6th house. Rahu in the 6th house. It's actually not bad. For Rahu, being in the 6th house is not bad.
So
He shows having plenty of obstacles to overcome and overcoming them nicely. That's what Rahu in the 6th house shows. And Jupiter in the 6th house shows not having any obstacles and not overcoming them.
Oh, that's what Jupiter is doing.
Yeah, if Jupiter is in the 6th house, it's a good placement too. Not from Arubha Lagna, I'm talking from Lagna.
From Lagna.
From Lagna.
From Lagna, there's a malefic planets in the 6th house.
Yeah.
Good. Because
They are good because they give you success. They give you an opportunity to get success. You have to work hard and you have to get that success and you will get that success. That's what Rahu in the 6th house shows. Whereas Jupiter in the 6th house, you are happy.
But who is making the success come through in that case? Because Rahu
himself, being a malefic in the 6th house.
He is making him work hard and giving him obstacles.
He will also, malefic in the 6th house not only makes sure that you have plenty of obstacles to overcome, but he makes sure that you overcome those obstacles. That is the thing about malefics in the 6th house. From Lagna, Archand Lagna.
So that's what I had a question I was asking him about. sixth house is both for obstacles as well as
overcoming them. Yes.
So in which case, what is more applicable?
See, again, it also depends on what houses he wants. What is his agenda? Suppose Rahu's agenda was to make the person fail.
Right.
Then, if Rahu is making him work hard, you may conclude that it will not give its result. See, Viparita Rajoga, we say that the 8th Lord in the 6th house is Viparita Rajoga, right? But let us say Rahu is 8th Lord and he is in 6th house. It is not exactly Viparita Rajoga. Because even without being 8th Lord, Rahu being in the 6th house itself is good. Now, if he is 8th Lord also, because he is a malefic planet, if malefic 8th Lord Rahu is in the 6th house, it is not exactly Viparita Rajoga. There, his agenda is 8th house. 8th house is his agenda, to give lot of anxiety. So, if that planet is in the 6th house, he will give lot of obstacles and also anxiety. And he may even give failure, because 8th house can show failure. But here, yes. But, yeah. So, instead of seeing Viparita Rajoga results, you may actually see failures in that case. But here Rahu is the 5th Lord. So his agenda is to give recognition, to give success. So if that planet is in the 6th house, what will he do? Being in the 6th house, he is comfortable there. If Jupiter was the 5th Lord in 6th house, he won't be comfortable there. Rahu being the 5th Lord in 6th house, he is comfortable in Dusthana, 3rd, 6th and 11th houses. He is very comfortable being there. So Rahu is comfortable there and he makes the person work hard, but he does not forget his agenda. His agenda is to give success, to give recognition. So he makes sure that he gives the success.
The 6th house Lord itself is in 6th house. And a malefic.
Yeah.
And what is the result? His agenda is to give you trouble.
Give you
trouble and success.
See, trouble and success. So he will give you trouble and success.
That's what we hear sometimes. 6th Lord and
6th house is both success and trouble. Obstacles and overcoming them. So if 6th Lord is right there, he will take care of both of them. But if some other planet is there, he will take care of one of the two, based on his agenda. Whatever his agenda fits, he will take care of that. Okay?
Does this lady own a lot of property? Her father has a lot
Why?
of properties.
Why?
Just looking at the Nadi principles. And
Okay. What? So can you share with the class?
Yeah, like in Nadi principles, in the Rasi chart, you look
Yeah.
at the Rasi chart and Venus represents female.
Yeah.
This is the lady, right?
Yeah.
So it is with the Sun and Mercury.
Yeah.
Sun represents her father.
Yeah.
And the father is in the same in its own house.
Yeah.
And with Mercury represents properties.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that her father has a lot of properties.
Not exactly. Her father, he's an engineer in the AP State Electricity Board, and they have a house in Vijayawada, but
Their own house.
they have one own house. Yeah. Nothing really. They're not really. They don't have a lot of properties. But her uncle is in real estate business, and he's a millionaire. He's a crorepati in Hindi. He has a lot of money, and he made a lot of money in real estate. But that was her uncle. Okay. Actually, if you want to see about her father, you should look at Dwadashamsa. Look at the 9th house, and pardon me.
If I start with Rasi also, I can look at 9th house. Right? The planet Moon is the
What moon?
in Rasi,
Mercury.
9th house.
Mercury.
I'm sorry, Mercury.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mercury is with the
11th house.
9th house.
What are you trying to look?
Here is when 9th house is Sun.
In general, what can you say overall at the physical level about the father? I was trying to see over here.
Okay. Tell me something about her father. How do you see? Using the Dwadashamsa, you want to see father.
9th house.
How do you see? What do you see?
9th house.
9th house. So, Gemini is Lagna. Taking Gemini as Lagna, analyze this and tell me something about father. Is he an intellectual kind of person, an intelligent kind of person?
Intelligent and very hard.
Why? Why?
Because Mercury and Saturn are together.
Yes. Mercury is Lagna Lord, so he is intelligent. And Mercury is with Saturn, 8th Lord and 9th Lord Saturn. There is a Rajoga, but Saturn is also 8th Lord. Lagna Lord associated with Saturn, that our 8th Lord will give lot of hard work, so he is very hardworking. Sun is in Lagna. So what do you say?
Is very
authoritative.
Very authoritative. Yeah. What else? Mars and Rahu are in the third house. What do you say?
Initiative. Tremendous amount of initiative.
Yeah, he has a lot of initiative. Two malefics in the third house. Is he stubborn?
yeah.
Must be stubborn. Because
Yeah.
Rahu being there.
Yeah,
stubborn.
yeah. I can't really make a judgment on that, but based on the chart, he should be stubborn. Yeah. What else?
I mean, fifth house is Mercury and Saturn that way. So he's good ability.
Fifth house has Mercury and Saturn, so very, very intelligent. We already said he's very intelligent. Mercury, Lagna Lord in the fifth house means the person is very intelligent. He was a very intelligent person. He came from a very normal or poor family and he became an engineer and he did well in life.
He has 10th Lord
On career. Who shows career?
10th house.
See, looking at father's career or mother's career from Dwalsamsa is very tricky, but let us see. Who is the
10th Lord in
Pisces. Pisces is
Pisces is the 10th house.
Jupiter is debilitated sitting in the 8th house.
So 10th Lord is Jupiter. So is government job possible?
Yeah.
Sun and Jupiter, they show government job. Sun, Moon and Jupiter. So it can be a government job. But how do you see engineer? Why was he an engineer? He's an electrical engineer. Who made him an engineer? What influence? There must be some influence of Mars on the 10th house for him to be engineer. Why did he become engineer? Mars and Rahu are electrical and electronics kind of engineering.
But Mars and Mars aspects of Jupiter in 8th house.
Mars is aspecting?
Pisces in 8th house.
Yes. Now, you have forgotten one basic thing. For seeing career, what is the house? Is it always 10th house?
Second,
Sixth house also.
Second, 6th and 10th house. 10th house is what you achieve. 6th house is what you are doing. Second house is what resources you have. So somebody's career may be defined by the resources they command. Somebody's career may be defined by the accomplishments. Somebody's career may be defined by all the hard work that they are putting in. So here, is 10th stronger or 6th stronger or 2nd stronger? It's very tough. It's a tough call here. 10th is empty, 2nd has a planet, 6th is empty, but 6th is aspected by its own lord, and 6th lord is aspecting 10th house also, and 6th lord is with another planet. So 6th lord is quite strong compared to 10th lord who's debilitated. So you can see the career from the 6th house in this case instead of looking at career from the 10th house. And Mars is with Rahu. So what kind of career? Engineering. It is engineering involving heavy equipment, etc. Rahu shows heavy equipment, hardware, etc. So Mars and Rahu combination, some kind of electronics engineer I would have predicted normally, but he is not electronics engineer. He did electrical engineering and he worked in the electrical department. But it's all, he deals with all these equipment, transmission, distribution equipment.
In government because of Jupiter.
Pardon me?
But in government because of Jupiter.
In government because of Jupiter. But again, you can't, it's very shaky argument. It's a shaky argument. Once you decide that Mars is giving the result, it is basically Mars. He's in Leo, Sun's house, so that can also show government job. Now, suppose you want to make predictions about father. Actually, we'll take up your friend's chart in the next class. Just when we were about to make the chart, there was a question that came up about the previous chart. So that means there is something still to be covered in the previous chart. So we'll do that in the next class. So we'll end with Jyothishya Narasimha Rao. So, suppose you want to say something about father, what will happen to father, what will happen to mother, how will her relationship with parents go. If you want to do that, the principle is, again there is a Jyothishya Narasimha Rao. And you know how it is found?
it's
No, 12th house. D12 is 12th house. So you look at the 12th house in Rasi chart,
oh yeah.
and you see 12th house is basically your give and take, etc. So see where that planet is in the Dwadashamsa. Here it is Mercury. 12th lord in Rasi chart is Mercury. See where he is in D12. He is in Libra. So take Libra as Lagna, which is Lagna anyway. So he is starting from Libra. Stronger between Libra and Aries is Libra with 2 planets. So the Dasha is starting from Libra. Did everybody follow that? So Dashas are starting from Libra. So you can just go on judging these Dashas and you can see how her relationship with parents will be at a given point of time. This Dasha is not for seeing what will happen to father, when the father will have Rajoga, when mother will have Rajoga, when father will have health problems. It is not for seeing that. This Dasha, this D12 Narayan Dasha is for seeing
how
her relationship with parents be, how she will, her emotions relating to parents be, when she will be sad relating to parents, when she will be happy, when she will talk to them nicely, when she will have a separation from them. All those things you can see. For example, let us look at the Dasha right now, Taurus Dasha.
So with respect to parents, relationship with parents, you look at that as a progression of Lagna itself, or?
This is progression of the 12th house, 12th Lord.
Right, 12th Lord.
So progression of, what is 12th Lord? Intelligence applied to give and take in life. Intelligence applied to compromise in life. Okay. So how you are compromising with your parents? Compromise may sound like a negative word, but it's basically, it's another word for relationship. It's a synonym of relationship. So in other words, it shows how the relationship is going.
Taurus. No, Taurus. Currently is Taurus.
Yeah.
Taurus is Pushtodaya.
So if you have to pick a Dasha that shows some problem with parents, some problem with mother or father, which Dasha would you pick?
I'd pick Leo because Rahu is there.
Yeah. It's coming after a long time. Let's forget about it. In the Dashas that went past, that are over. What about Capricorn? Taurus is just recently started. So let us, that could be bad, but we'll analyze it more carefully. Because Taurus is owned by Venus, the Lagna Lord, even though it's 8th house. Lagna and 8th house are owned by the same planet for Libra. So for Libra, Taurus is not such a bad 8th house. So it's not that bad. But look at Capricorn.
Jupiter debilitated.
Capricorn has Jupiter debilitated in it. So, is it a problematic Dasha? What about Jupiter? He is the 3rd and 6th Lord.
So he is a natural...
He is a functional male female. 6th house is the house of quarrels, arguments. And the Lord of that house, even though he is debilitated, which means he is weak, still he is afflicting Capricorn. The house of Sukha, the house of comfort. 4th house is the house of happiness, comfort, relaxation, etc.
Comfort with
Sukha.
With respect to parents.
With respect to parents, not with respect to vehicle or career. This is happiness from the point of view of parental relation, parental coexistence. So from that point of view, this is the Sukha. And whenever you see 6th Lord or 8th Lord in 4th house, you can suspect that there is some Sukhalopa, which means lack of comfort. So Capricorn Dasha can give that result. Right? Is that possible?
Yes.
Right. Which 1/3?
1990 to 90.
Which 1/3?
This Capricorn is...
in Capricorn, that's fine.
Pushtodaya.
The end. If you want to look at which 1/3?
Which 1/3?
Rasi itself is the last 1/3.
Rasi itself, because Capricorn is Pushtodaya, it is given the last 1/3.
So the owner will come and do
So last 1/3, because it is the Rasi itself, will she have Sukha in the last 1/3?
No.
It is 4th house.
4th house, yeah.
4th house result.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Right?
So, yes.
And first 1/3 will be?
The bad one, because that's where the...
No, why bad one? First 1/3, whose results are given?
Sorry, Saturn's results.
Saturn's results are given in first 1/3. Did everybody follow? Capricorn is Pushtodaya, so last 1/3 will be Capricorn results. Its Lord Saturn is in Shishodaya Rasi, Libra. So first 1/3, he will come and take the earliest available opportunity. So Saturn results will be given in the first 1/3. And that's not bad.
That's not bad.
4th Lord being in Lagna, that's not bad at all. He has nice yoga. But the problem is Jupiter being there. 6th Lord Jupiter's affliction of Capricorn is the problem. So which 1/3 has problem? The middle 1/3, 91 January to 92 May. So 91, 92 is when the results, the bad results are given. So during that time, there can be some friction with parents during that time. And I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe towards the end of her engineering, she had some friction about what she would do next. She wanted to do masters, and her parents said no. Then she wanted to work. Her parents wanted her to be close by. She wanted to leave house and go to Hyderabad. So there was some friction, especially with mother.
During 4th house.
Pardon me?
Because it is being 4th house or 4th house.
Perhaps.
Why did you pick the 91 and 92 period? Why not middle?
Middle one.
Yeah, middle. Okay.
Because that is when the occupants and the associations will give their results.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
So Mars, Rahu and Jupiter will give their results.
Yeah, all the 4 quarters of that.
Right.
Okay.
So actually within that 1/4 there is exactly 1/3 when Jupiter will give his results. That is when the problem would have come. But even Mars and Rahu are not very pretty. Their aspect on the 4th house is also not so good. So basically that whole, how long is it? 1 year and 4 months. So 16 months are slightly bad period. Okay. This is how you see when you want to see the relations with parents. This is how you see. Suppose let us say, Taurus Dasha. The Dasha that is running right now. Let us not make any future predictions, but let us look at the period that has just gone by. So this is a very short Dasha. This is just 2 years. So from 2004 September till 2005 May, this is when the first 1/3 will give its results. Who will give the results in the first 1/3? No.
Yeah, both are Pushtadaya.
Yeah. So the sign is Pushtadaya, the Lord is Pushtadaya. So the occupants
and the aspects.
The occupants and the aspects will give their results in the first 1/3. So what is the order?
Venus, Mercury, Saturn.
Mercury, Jupiter is Dharkaraka, Mercury is Nyatkaraka, Saturn is Pisarkaraka. So Saturn first, Mercury then, and then finally Jupiter. Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter is the order. Okay? So,
Venus also.
oh, Venus also?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are right. Excellent. So where does Venus fit? He's at the first. So Venus, Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter. So this is good. We don't have to divide into 3 parts. Take each under the chart. I like it when there are 4 planets occupying or aspecting. So this period, the results of Venus will be given.
In Venus there is the Lord.
Is that good or bad?
That's good. Because Venus is the Lord of the Lagna.
Yeah.
And
Venus is the?
Lagna Lord.
Yeah.
So he'll only do good to the relationship.
Okay. Okay. He will give good to relationships. And if parents are staying far away from her, can Venus bring her close to her parents?
Occupants, how do you see it?
We have to see whether male is or
The effect of that.
If you want to further subdivide.
Okay.
But let us say this 2 month
Yeah, okay,
resolution
I
is
got
enough
it.
for us. Just hang on to 2 months. The deeper you go,
the more
it has a better chance of collapsing. When you are looking at high level, it will work very nicely.
I think Venus is also expecting the 4th house, the Hadasti also.
Yeah.
So I think he's also going to better the relationship with the mother, and
Yeah.
he's going to feel more comfortable.
In general, Lagna Lord will give a new beginning, we said. So, in the case of Dwadashamsha, it is parental relations. So, when Lagna Lord Dasha comes, he will give a nice beginning, which means if the parents are staying far away, can she visit her parents or can her parents visit her?
Start of the relationship.
So, they will start interaction and they will be together, feel happy. All those results are possible. Being the Lagna Lord, Venus can only give good results. So,
But we're also looking at it from the Lord of the 8th house. Because
Lord of the 8th house aspect in the 8th house. Yes.
So what does that signify? It means at this point, is it causing a break? Or what is the 8th house?
8th house Lord aspecting 8th house is a very good yoga. 8th house Lord occupying 8th house is Sala Yoga, right?
Right.
So if the 8th Lord is aspecting 8th house, again he brings results akin to Sala Yoga. So it's not bad at all. So it is actually it can be the end of the separation. 8th house is basically separation. But if the Lord is occupying it, it may actually not be separation. It may be the end of the separation. So overall, what we can say is, during Taurus Dasya, because Taurus is 8th house, there will be either separation or there will be some anxieties relating to parents. Taurus Mahadasha is the 8th house. It doesn't necessarily mean she will quarrel with her parents. It means she will have some anxiety relating to parents. One of the parents may have a bad health. So I didn't want to actually make any negative prognostications about this chart, because this chart belongs to somebody who I know well. This is actually my wife's chart. So I didn't want to make any negative predictions. But looking objectively at the dashas, this dasha, there are some bad possibilities. But if we focus on the first 1/3, the aspects, Venus aspect as well as Mercury and Saturn aspect. These three aspects are very good.
Correct.
So, from September 11 till March 9,
There's no problem.
this is a very good period. This period will bring the results of the aspects of Venus, Mercury and Saturn, who are all very good planets. One is a Yogakaraka, Saturn is Yogakaraka, Mercury is ninth lord, the protector. Venus is the Lagna lord himself. So during this dasha, she enjoyed being with her parents. Her parents came here in October. They came here in October, in mid-October, and they've been with her, and they are going back. Today they are going to New Jersey, and next week they will be leaving. So this whole period was good, and in this period there is again
2 months. There is
separation coming. Parents are going to be away from her. So separation is being, who is giving the separation? Jupiter, the sixth lord, is giving the separation here. So he is the planet who is giving separation. So like this you can look at various dashas and see then what result was given. And you can try in your own chart. You can look at Dvadashamsa, you can look at Saptamsa to see what happens to children. Saptamsa Narayan Dasha. But if you want to say what happens to father specifically or mother, then there is a different Narayan Dasha. It is not given in the software, but using the options given in the software you can find it. So let us look at father as an example or mother as an example. So what you do for that is, see which is the Lagna for father or mother. You remember we take the 9th for father or 4th for mother, right? And we take that as Lagna and analyze the chart. Take that as Lagna and find Narayan Dasha.
Oh, I see. So you progress, you start with the Lagna.
Start from that sign and progress. And then take that as Lagna. And
but you don't take that Lagna and 7th house at that point?
Pardon me?
You take 4th house is mother.
Yeah.
But the axis, you take the axis and...
You take the axis, 4th and 10th, stronger. Everything is
that
everything is the same. Everything is the same. So what you do is, first let us say mother. From here the 4th house is excuse me. 4th house is Capricorn. So is Capricorn stronger or Cancer? You don't have to do that manually. You can look here. Stronger of CN and CP. Capricorn. Software found that Capricorn is stronger. Pardon me?
How did you get that?
Oh, just Narayan Dasha options button.
Oh.
So select D12 and then whatever stronger strength settings it gives, leave those strength settings. But to decide whether to start the Dasha from Cancer or Capricorn, you have to enter that here. Don't say use the default. If you say that, it will take the 12th lord, it will do the normal Narayan Dasha, which shows your relationship with parents, not what happens to parents. So you have to select one of these signs. It will be either Cancer or Capricorn. Which one will it be? You have to find the stronger of the two. And for that, you can look at this list and find out. Out of CN and CP, Capricorn is stronger. So that is what the software came up with. So tell it, okay, use Capricorn then. Had the software told you Cancer here, you would have selected Cancer here. You understand? So instead of use the default, under start dashas from, select Capricorn. And then find D12 Narayan Dasha. Now you have a different Narayan Dasha. This Narayan Dasha shows, what does it show? It shows what happens to mother.
How did we come here actually? You took the 4th house.
Yeah.
In Dvadashamsa and that is Capricorn. So you are starting the Narayan Dasha from Capricorn.
Yeah.
No, Capricorn, you took the stronger of both the
Stronger of Capricorn and Cancer. No, Capricorn is Lagna for mother.
Yeah, okay.
So you take the stronger of Capricorn or Cancer. Stronger of
Take that as the...
Take that as the starting sign for Narayan Dasha. So starting sign you have to manipulate.
But still the rest of the houses and everything else will be with respect to the Lagna here.
No. Now you are talking about mother's fortune. You are not talking about her relationship with parents.
Okay, talking about
her coexistence with
so
parents.
this will be the Lagna for her mother's chart.
Mother's chart. Take this as Rashi chart, treating that as Lagna, and find Narayan Dasha. Then you will see what happens to her mom.
It's like anything else you were doing before.
Right, right. So,
it starts from the period where the child is born.
Right, exactly. So,
right now she is running Leo Dasha.
So, I want you to say between 1993 and 2004, just give one. If I want you to give one result for mother, give me one result. She does not have a job. She is a housewife. What can Virgo Dasha give her? Give me one result.
Virgo is
9th house. What can 9th house give?
of Mrityapada there.
Yeah.
Ninth house.
Give me one result of ninth house.
Travel.
Fortune and
Travel, long distance travel.
traveling abroad.
Yeah.
Can she travel? Can she come to US during that data? Yeah. She came once, twice, third. I think 3 times, 4 times she came. During this period, she came to US 4 times during this Mahadasha. And now Leo Dasha. What can you expect in the Leo Dasha? What can you tell her mother in the Leo Dasha? Yeah. If the 8th house, it has Mars and Rahu. So should she be careful about her health? Yes. What about Cancer Dasha? Is it a good Dasha or bad Dasha?
Seventh house. Venus is there actually.
Jyothishya ka Venus is there. So it's a good Dasha. What about for her mother Libra Dasha? Is it a good Dasha or bad Dasha?
I'm making something here. Why is my chart different from what I see in your place?
That's good.
Did you enter the same data?
Yeah.
Are you looking at Dvadasamsa, D12?
I'm looking at Dwadasamsa, but my Capricorn, it starts with Narendra, it starts with Capricorn,
Yeah.
but the periods are like...
You are at D9 actually.
You are still in Avamsa. Okay. No problem. Okay.
Libra is also good.
Yeah.
Because it's, first of all, there's the yoga there.
Yeah.
Plus there is, that's the 10th house.
Yeah. It's a good house. It has good planets. Overall, it's a good Dasha. So you can see...
Working hard.
Pardon me?
The Saturn being in 10th house and is a Lagna Lord too.
Yeah. Now...
For mother.
Yeah, right. Now, if at all there are any problems in Virgo Dasha, when are the problems likely?
In Kanya.
In Kanya Dasha, I tell you that she had big health problems.
8 is there.
That means
Yeah, 8 is there, and who is aspecting it? See, the Lord, there is no problem with him. The Lord is nicely placed. The Lord Mercury is nicely placed. Sign itself is 9th house. It's a 9th house. The main problem is Sun's aspect on it. It contains Mrityapada and is aspected by which Lord? From Capricorn, Sun is 8th Lord. Is 8th Lord's aspect on any sign good? No, it can show accidents, it can show anxiety, it can show health. It can show serious health problems. So, when will that result be given? If I tell you that she had a big health problem during the sign is Vishodaya, the Lord Mercury is Vishodaya Rasi. So, sign will give the results first one third, second one third, the Lord will give the result.
So the aspect is given in the last third.
The aspect is given in the
Last
one third. So, who are sharing those results?
Only Sun.
Only Sun. So, if at all there are any health problems, are they likely in the last one third?
there are last 1/3.
Last one third.
2011.
Particularly, Sun being the 8th Lord, that result will be given in
Leo.
the Lordship result in Leo or? Yeah, Leo.
Second from bottom.
Yeah. So 2002, 2003 is the real period of concern. Right? So,
Which have trouble at the time?
yeah, I don't know the exact period, but around that period. Around that period, she had a couple of accidents. Once, she broke her ankle. And again, if Sun is giving problems, what kind of problems can Sun give? Either relating to a lot of fire in the body, Pitta, or what part of the body does Sun show? There are different dhatus. Rakta, Moon shows Rakta, or blood. Jupiter shows fat. What part of the body does Sun show? Does anybody know? It is given in the beginning of my book as well as Parasra's book. Bones are shown by Sun.
Okay. Yeah,
Bones. So when you see Sun giving a problem in a chart, you can suspect that there can be some problem with bones, breaking of bones or something. And here 8th Lord Sun's aspect gave its result during that 1/3. I don't know exactly if it was this period, but it was definitely this 1/3. And it may be this 1/4 also. I'm not 100% sure. So,
but we don't have any method to divide that last.
Oh, we do. Because Sun has this whole period to himself. The first 1/4 he will give the result of his state. Second 1/4 he will give the result of his yoga.
It is a malefic.
Pardon me?
That's only for the Lord of the sign which...
Even for aspecting planets.
Aspect of
But the thing is, sometimes it's not worth it because you are looking at a small period. Sometimes it is worth it because you are looking at a big period and you want further guidance.
here he got 4 years.
Yeah, but then if there are, because this is aspect, if you have 3 planets aspecting it, then the spirit is very small for each of them.
Yeah.
So within that you see the 4 again.
If you want, you can. If you want, you can. But
That's true now.
Avastha, yoga,
Avastha, Yoga, Lordship,
and then
finally occupying. So, this whole period, basically, this whole 1/3 was a problematic period. She had consistently some problem or the other, and she had this breaking of the bone, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was another problem also. There were a couple of problems, one after the other.
It's like the last 2, that Leo and Virgo are the worst.
Yeah.
2002 to 2004 September.
Right. This is the worst period, exactly. That was indeed the worst period. And there may be a part of this also, the Vedana Yoga, part of that, but I'm not 100% sure. So
There's no yoga there, so how do you...
well, there is Viparita Raj Yoga being given by Sun.
Eighth Lord in 6th house.
Yeah. Okay, now, but the thing is, Sun's aspect on Virgo giving trouble, the whole 1/3 you may have trouble, but there will be peaking of various of those results. Sun being in the 6th house and aspecting Virgo, Sun being the 8th Lord and aspecting Virgo, Sun being in a neutral sign and aspecting Virgo, all these are various results given by Sun's aspect on Virgo. So all those results will be experienced throughout that 1/3, but there will be a peaking of each parameter during a particular period. So if you are expecting something, a fixed event like marriage or hospitalization or some specific event, you can use that particular 1/4 for further guidance, for finer timing. But in general, that 1/3 is a bad period. And it was a testing period for her. And she was doing Mrityunjaya mantra during that period. I told her to do Mrityunjaya mantra. She was doing it, and still there was some problem on the other. But now, do you think her dasha is good? So actually Leo dasha. So for another year or so, she has to take care of her health, and
So the 8th house.
yeah, because it is the 8th house containing Mars and Rahu. But once that is over, Cancer should be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now see her father. How do you see her father? I want somebody to help me. I want you to help me. I want to see what happens in her father's life. Again, see, using this, we can't get 100% readings. We can get maybe 70% general idea of important phases in life. So for father, how do you do it?
Take the 9th house.
Take the 9th house Gemini as Lagna.
Gemini as Lagna.
So dasha will start from either Gemini
Or from Sagittarius.
which is stronger?
Between Gemini is stronger.
Gemini is stronger. And of course, when you are not sure, suppose there was one planet in Sagittarius also, then you can take help from the software. When you open options, you check whether Gemini is stronger or Sagittarius. See, software says Gemini. So just enter Gemini here. And then say OK. So instead of use the default or Capricorn, now we are saying use Gemini. Start the test from Gemini. And then find this another variation of D12 Narayan Dasha. So there are various D12 Narayan Dashas, not just one. There are various. So using this D12 Narayan Dasha, what do you see?
The Gemini. And currently is running right now.
Look at her father. This Dasha belongs to her father.
Belongs to father.
Yeah.
And
Currently Capricorn.
currently it is in Capricorn.
Capricorn Dasha. Give me one result that you can expect in Capricorn Mahadasha. One result. Which house is it?
8th house.
Containing? 10th Lord. 10th Lord in 8th house.
Lord.
Give me one result.
Retirement.
Retirement. So do you think that her father could have retired after September 12, 2003?
Yeah.
Possible, yeah.
Very much.
Very much possible. Because 10th Lord is in that house and this is the 8th house for father. Remember, we are taking Gemini as Lagna now.
Right.
So 8th house results will come. So some anxiety and all those things are possible, but one clear result is retirement. That can be the biggest event of
But
the
that we are
lifetime.
coming from 10th Lord in 8th house. We are not coming to that because of Capricorn.
In general, no.
Not a Capricorn characteristic. That's what you're
8th house. 8th house character. 8th house shows changes in life, changes in lifestyle, and retirement is one of them. 3rd and 8th houses can give retirement.
and long-term change.
Especially 8th house is the house of long retirement. So her father basically retired in this dasha. He retired in 2004 after this dasha started.
So the question also we can look at
Now,
2004 he retired. So
yeah.
the planet occupying that.
Who gave that result?
Yes, exactly. So if you look at that's all Pishtolaya Rasis, the Rashi is coming last.
The Rashi is coming at the end because it is Pishtolaya.
And even
The Lord Saturn is coming in the beginning because he is Pishtolaya. So Saturn actually gave the result. The 8th Lord.
The 8th Lord gave the result.
8th Lord gave the result. Being the 8th Lord, Saturn gave the result.
So he just cut him off at that point. I would have thought Jupiter because the 10th Lord sitting in the 8th.
Yes, yes. I would have thought Jupiter too. I would have thought Jupiter would have given the result, but it so happened that actually Saturn himself gave the result here. And again, we are looking at father's fortune from the daughter's chart. So things will not work very perfectly. But 8th Lord is certainly capable of changing, giving a retirement. And will it be a good retirement? I mean, will it be like being forced or layoff, or will it be a very happy retirement? The 8th Lord Saturn gave the result and he is exalted in the 5th house.
Correct.
So if the 8th Lord is exalted in the 5th house and he gives the retirement, just before the retirement, is it possible that he would have got a promotion? He could have got recognition. Yes, he shows recognition of ability. So he could have got a retirement, he could have got a promotion and then retired in the newer scale so that he gets more benefits after he retires, because this is a government job in India. So that is indeed what happened. As soon as Capricorn Mahadasha started, they were waiting for a promotion. He wasn't sure when he would get it, but in 2004 summer, I think, sometime in summer, my wife listens to this audio, she'll be mad because I don't remember any details about her. She always complains. But if you ask me, events in my life, when I landed in Houston, when I landed in Seoul, when I started my first job, when I started my second job, I remember all the days, sometimes times also.
And the 8 also is there. No, this is not the right date.
This is not it, right?
It is right state.
This is not the right state.
Okay. Now, suppose her father comes and asks you, I want to actually do some independent business kind of thing. Is the time favorable for me? Suppose he comes and asks me, what should I tell him? This Capricorn Mahadasha that is running right now, is it favorable for business?
Not really.
It contains the 7th Lord Jupiter. The 7th Lord Jupiter is in Capricorn. So maybe, but he is debilitated, it's not so strong, but maybe. But which is the period for that? When will Jupiter give his result? We said Lord gives the first 1/3 and middle 1/3 will be given by planets occupying and aspecting it.
Capricorn in this case.
Capricorn is coming at the end.
By Jupiter.
Middle is Jupiter and other planets.
Aspecting.
Jupiter, Mars, Rahu, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, Jupiter, Mars and Rahu will give their results in the middle 1/3. So it is from 2005 January till 2006 May. So this 1 year and 4 months, these 16 months, 3 planets will give their results. And I think Jupiter is the last one. He is Darakaraka. He is the least advanced in terms of degrees. So Jupiter's 1/3 comes towards the end. So last 5 months.
2006.
The last 5 months, 2006 January to 2006 May. Basically first 5 months of 2006. That is when there can be some business or something is possible for him. Right? But still the next 1/3 is a problematic period because it is giving the Capricorn results, 8th house results. So that's not really an auspicious period. Also, okay, I forget the Arudha. If you have time, you find the Arudha of taking this as Lagna, find Arudha Lagna. That will be basically whatever A9 here. So that will be this Arudha Lagna. And Capricorn is the 12th from Arudha Lagna. So it is not only 8th from Lagna, but 12th from Arudha Lagna. So it's a period of losses and anxiety. So I wouldn't really advise him to start any business in that small window of opportunity given by Jupiter.
You said that is the Arudha of what?
A9.
This A9 is the Arudha of Gemini, right?
Correct.
The 9th house.
Correct.
But for father, if you want to find Arudha Lagna, that A9 becomes Aruh Lagna for father because Gemini is Lagna now.
Which is 9th house.
Yeah. So taking Gemini as Lagna, the Aruh Lagna will be her A9. Her A9 will be father's AL.
Yeah.
So if you find AL taking Gemini as Lagna, it will fall in Aquarius, where A9 is right now. So from Aruh Lagna, Capricorn is 12th house. From Lagna, it is 8th house. So this dasha will bring some material losses, some anxiety, etc. So if he asks you for your advice on starting a business or doing some independent work, if he wants to have some kind of new career, basically he wants to have, doesn't want to sit idle. Unfortunately, my advice to him would be not right now. This period is not really favorable. Take it easy. But Sagittarius, is it likely to give him some kind of business? Oh, actually Sagittarius is a short period. Leo. Is Leo the capable of resuscitating his career?
Yes,
It is capable.
Even though he is retired now?
yeah.
There's a third house.
Because it is the third house containing 6th lord of overcoming obstacles. It is the third house of initiative. So he can have a new initiative and start consulting somebody because third house is also contracting kind of things, consulting kind of jobs, temporary jobs.
It has 11th cloud in it.
For me, it has 11th lord in it. So there is a connection between 11th and 3rd. So he can, during the Leo Dasha, he can actually start some consultancy or do some consulting. So there is a chance of resuscitation in the career, a new beginning in the career and some independent work in that period after 2007. Until 2007, he should take it easy.
How come Sagittarius is
Not even a day.
not even a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because its lord is debilitated. If you use all the rules, it works out to 0.
Which one are you talking about?
Sagittarius Dasha is 0 here. So people are surprised by it. And this is actually reason for Sri K.N. Rao to reject one exception given by Parashara. See, the rule is you count from the sign to planet. From Sagittarius to Jupiter is 2. Subtract 1. So that is the number of years, 1 year normally.
Yeah.
But if the planet is exalted or debilitated, add or subtract 1 year. That is an exception given by Parashara. And Sri K.N. Rao decided to ignore that exception because he cannot accept 0 year dasha. Simply because of that, he just ignored one whole exception given by Parashara, and he thinks that when he looked at a lot of examples, he thinks that, of course he doesn't use Narayan Dasha, he uses Charadasha, which is a subset of this. He thinks that he gets better results without using the exceptions given by Parashara. But when I look at examples, I see that I get much better results, much more consistent results if I stick to Parashara. So I stick to Parashara, and that's what the software does. So the idea is, there is a second cycle. In the second cycle, whatever was given in the first cycle, 12 minus that, those many years will come in the second cycle.
So the entire 12
So total is 12 years. So if there is 1 in the beginning, it will be 11 later. If it is 10 in the beginning, it will be 2 later. If it is 5 in the beginning, it will be 7 later. If it is 0 in the beginning, it will be 12 later. Similarly, if it is 12 in the beginning, it is 0 later. I don't have any hang-ups about that 0 years. It may look weird in the beginning, but Sagittarius doesn't give any result in the beginning. Okay, so you can look at your wife's Navamsa. See, for example, take Navamsa. In the Navamsa, if you want to see what happens to husband, what is the dasha you should use? Is this the correct dasha? This is the dasha that shows the dharma, how dharma, 9th lord is being progressed. So this is dharma. If you want to see husband, Aries should be taken as Lagna, and you should analyze this whole chart. So if you want to see what happens to husband, take Aries, and the stronger of Aries and Libra is Aries. So start the dashas from Aries, and then see what happens when to husband. So if you, for example, let us say Leo dasha, how is it for husband?
Leo is the 6th house.
Yeah.
Jupiter is there in E7.
6th house. What house?
Leo is the 5th house.
5th house. Now you take Aries as Lagna. Aries as Lagna and judge this.
So it's actually very good. The Jupiter
Yeah.
is there in a friendly planet.
Yeah.
It's also going to give you recognition for your
9th lord in 5th house.
Yeah.
9th lord and 12th lord.
Yeah.
5th house. So it's good.
Who gives results in the first 1/3?
Okay, let's see. That's so the Rasi. So the first part is the Rasi itself. And then the Lord of the house, Sun. Sun is sitting in Vrishchika, which is also Sirsha Rasi. So first is the Rasi, second is Sun, the Lord Sun. Third is the planets occupying and aspecting it.
So first will be the sign itself, second will be the Lord, and third will be Jupiter and other planets. Jupiter, Saturn, that's it. So what is the result in the first one third?
It's giving you abilities.
It's a good result. Leo is it Lagna? Is it the fifth house from Lagna? And does it contain Arudha Lagna?
It contains A7.
A7, that is AL. If you take Aries as Lagna, that is AL. So it contains Arudha Lagna, good for image, status. It contains,
good for your ability.
It is the fifth house and recognition of abilities, etc. So it's a good 1/3. This particular 1/3. What about the next 1/3?
Second 1/3, of course, is
Sun will give his results. So if you subdivide that, the first part he will give the results of his state. So he is in a friendly sign, not as a great friend, but he is in an okay sign, martial sign. So but he is close to his debilitation sign. So it will be a so-so period. And Gemini, he will give the results of, in the second quarter he will give the result of his yoga. Does he have any yoga?
He is the fifth house lord, that's all. There's no yoga
there is no real yoga. But he is fifth lord in the 8th house. So he is bringing a yoga between 5th and 8th houses. So that is a yoga too. Yogas are not just between planets, they are between houses also. So
for your fifth house is your abilities. So he's going to give you anxiety for your abilities.
He can give anxiety relating to recognition, or he can give occult. 5th and 8th are also associated with occult subjects. So they can be recognition relating to occult knowledge. There can be some important events relating to occult knowledge. So that also can be given by Sun in that period. But the third quarter he will give the results of
his lordship.
So he will give pure fifth lord and Arudha Lagna lord relation result. So that will boost image, that will be good recognition, that will be a great Antardasha for husband. But the last 1/3, what will you expect? He gives the result of his placement. So being the 8th house, for Sun being in the 8th house is bad. It shows some law, Sun is the karaka for health, he is the karaka for position. So either in position, some anxiety relating to position or career, or some anxiety relating to career. That is possible in 2008. Pardon me? A10, but that's not her A10. That is her A10. That will be my A3. That will be husband's A3. So like this,
A4.
Pardon me?
A3, A4.
A3 and A4 are there. So, and also because this is the 8th house, it can show some kind of retirement is also possible. Or some change in the career is also possible. So, 8th house. And because A3 is there, leave the job and start something is also possible. So these are the various possibilities. So like this, for in Navamsa, you take the 7th house as Lagna and find the Narayana Dasa and analyze it. So like this, you can find for various things. You can find Saptamsa. If you want to see what will happen to an individual child, take Saptamsa for example. Take the first child. Which house shows first child? Fifth house. Fifth lord will show the first child. Where is the fifth lord?
That man is right in his own house.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because there are two lords. Let me take the second child. Second child is a less problematic child. Second child, Mars. So, Mars is in Scorpio. So when we earlier said that if you want to see what is the fortune of the second child, you will take Scorpio as Lagna and see the progression, right? So all you do is take options, Saptamsa, and then take the Narayana Dasa. Only trick is here we are taking the Paka of the corresponding child as Lagna. In Drakana and Saptamsa, we take the Lord of the house as Lagna for the child or for the sibling. So you don't use normal Narayana Dasa, but you use Paka Narayana Dasa. A Narayana Dasa variation known as Paka Narayana Dasa, where to find the years of Dasas, instead of counting from sign to Lord, you count from Lord to sign reverse. So do the change it to Paka Narayana Dasa, but remember to change it back to normal when you go back to other things.
And start from Scorpio.
Start from Scorpio. Start from Scorpio and find Paka Narayana. Oh, no, one second.
Let's see which is stronger with Scorpio and
One second. No, actually, Pakanarayana, yeah, this is right.
Scorpio is stronger.
Scorpio is stronger.
Yeah.
What is Pakanarayana Dasa? Can you define again?
Pakanarayana Dasa, I can't define it in this class, but it is a variation of Narayana Dasa, where the Dasha years are found by counting from house to the sign, instead of sign to house.
House to sign.
Yeah. Sorry, what did I say? Counting from the Lord of the house to the house, instead of counting from the house to the Lord of the house. So that is what you do. And actually what you said is right. Is Scorpio stronger or Taurus? Scorpio is stronger. So we took Scorpio. So these are the Dashas. So if you look at Pisces Dasha and Libra Dasha, you can look at various Dashas and see what are the possibilities for that particular child. And then use the same rules. The only different thing is use the Pakanarayana Dasha. That's the only difference. Otherwise, everything else is the same. Okay?
And we are using Pakanarayana Dasa again here because
this is only for Drakana and Saptamsa. Because we take the Paka of the corresponding child or sibling as the Lagna.
Okay.
Instead of taking the 5th house and 7th house, we are taking 5th Lord and 7th Lord itself as the Lagna.
For any Drakana or any Drakana
and Saptamsa, if you want to see the fortune of a particular sibling or the fortune of a particular child, then you do this.
Does this first few periods indicate their previous birth?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I don't think that's right.
So basically we should know the time when they are born.
Yeah, and judge from there onwards. Okay, so with that we have gone long today. So with that I will end. But do one thing, because you have the software, experiment with your own chart, your various divisional charts, your changes in career, your marriage. And another thing, for marriage, for Navamsha, I told you two kinds of Narayana Dasas. One is starting from the 7th house itself, treating that as Lagna. That shows what happens to husband or spouse. Then the other one is the default Narayana Dasa, Navamsha Narayana Dasa that the software finds is from the 9th Lord of the Rasi chart. That shows how the Dharma is upheld in your marital life. So that is the Dasha to be seen to see when you get married and how you follow your Dharma in the marriage, etc. There is a third variation, which is from the 7th Lord of the Rasi chart. Because even though 9th house is the controlling house for Navamsha, 7th house is the controlling house for relationship. So take the 7th Lord of Rasi chart, see where he is in Navamsha, take that as Lagna, take the stronger of that and 7th, and find Narayana Dasha. That is another variation. Can you imagine what that shows? Relationship. 7th Lord shows the intelligence applied to relationship. So his interaction with your dharmic environment, with your marital environment. So it shows what kind of relationship you are going through.
again? Third rule?
The third one,
7th Lord
of Rasi chart.
7th Lord of Rasi chart.
See where he is in the Navamsha. Take that as Lagna, take the stronger of that sign and the 7th from it, and use that as Lagna and find Narayana Dasha. Yeah, this shows how the relationship progresses. So there may be...
the same thing as the second rule you said. First rule was 9th house.
First rule was
taking the 9th house.
Taking the 9th Lord. Taking the 9th Lord in the Rasi chart, place him in the Navamsha and start from him.
Okay.
The third one is take the 7th house in Navamsha. 7th house in Navamsha itself as Lagna.
Second one is take the...
See, 9th Lord of Rasi is one, 7th Lord of Rasi is the other. 7th house in Navamsha itself is the third one.
Okay.
If you take the 7th house in Navamsha itself,
or the ascendant itself, whichever is stronger.
Whichever is stronger, that will show what happens to husband himself.
Okay.
If you want to see when husband has a good time in career, when he has troubles in career, etc., then you use that variation. And in all the cases, when you want to judge, when there are multiple influences, to see when a particular influence will give its result, you use the 3 parts rule, and then if necessary, the further 4 parts sub rule. And then you will get pretty consistent results. It will not be 100%, but it will be 90% of the times it will work. So you can get pretty consistent results. So experiment with a few thoughts, at least your Rasi Narayana Dasha, a couple of variations of Navamsha Narayana Dasha, and Dashamsha Narayana Dasha. Experiment with those, and then if you have any questions, if you are confused about something, you can ask me in the next class.
And the Dashamsha Narayana Dasha also, this, do you have this kind of rules like take the 10th Lord?
10th is enough. 10th Lord is enough.
Just the 10th Lord.
Yeah, 10th Lord is enough.
There's no variation.
But if you want to see how relationships in professional relationships are progressing, to see those professional relationships, you could look at the 7th Lord. See, technically you can look at any Lord in the Rasi chart. You can look at anything. Narayana lives in so many things. Narayana lives in the words that I am speaking. Narayana lives in the thoughts that I am thinking, relating to my speech. Narayana lives in the thoughts that I am thinking, relating to how I should drive my car. Narayana thinks in every part of my intelligence. So, that intelligence is being influenced by various of my environments. So, each Narayana Dasa is nothing but the interaction between one environment and one aspect of the Narayana within me. Simple. So, if you really understand the philosophy, you can take any Lord, any divisional chart, and you can, but you have to know what to see from that variation of Narayana Dasa. So, you can have infinite variations of Narayana Dasa technically. Just as Narayana is infinite, the variations of Narayana Dasa are infinity. But the most important Dasa of Narayana Dasa is from the 10th Lord. For most common purposes that will serve. Okay? We will see some more examples in the next class, and we really must end now. Om Shanti Shanti